Geek Vibes Live is rated G for geek. It's time!
Hey, this is Matt Lesher.
This is Phil Lamar.
Hey, this is Latimer Taylor, a.k.a. the Penguin from Gotham, and you are listening to Geek Vibes Live.
And here we go.
In your marketing rooms. But all right, everybody, welcome to an all-new episode of Geek Vibes Live. I was going to call this originally Geek Vibes Live / Much to Do About Nothing, but then I kind of felt like it was a slap in the face to Joel because he was a part of the original Geek Vibes Live team. So I felt like if I did like a collab show, it would make people think like, oh, Joel's not usually on there. Whatever. But anyway, Geek Vibes Live is what I went with. I'm your host, Juwaan, as per. And I am welcoming in Tia. What's going on, Tia?
How's everyone doing today? Excited for another Geek Vibes Live now that we actually have news to talk about.
So much news. Joel's head was exploding this week with all the news that was dropping. But speaking of, what's going on, Joel?
What's up? I'm very excited to be back on Geek Vibes. How long has it been since I've been on Geek Vibes Live? It's been a while.
Between you and Kanan, it's like the number is so high.
Yeah, I'm back. It's
Pretty sure
weird.
it's been like a year or something.
I want to say it's almost been a year. I want to say Kanan hasn't been on in almost a year and a half. Joel's about to make a year, I believe.
Yeah.
But both are way too long.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. But I'm here.
You definitely are, and we are glad to have you back. So, without further ado, let's get into the big news of the week. Let's not even tippy-toe here. Let's just dive right in. Joel, I'll let you intro the news that we got regarding Batman and a certain guy that runs fast. But I think you have more news on that.
I mean, do I? Man, do we? All right, so look, it was a normal week until like 2 days ago. It seemed that way. And then all of a sudden, we got a report from the Wrap. Humberto Gonzalez El Nainde himself reports one of the biggest, like probably his biggest fucking scoop ever, that Michael Keaton will be reprising his role as Batman in the Flash movie. And this is all coming from like a couple of days before that we were hearing that Jeffrey D. Morgan was possibly returning to be Thomas Wayne in the movie, and that's kind of more or less been debunked, considering it's probably, I think, something from earlier in the script, and it looks like they changed their mind and are going in the direction of Michael Keaton, Batman. And I didn't know what to make of it because my mind melted, and it was like one of those things where like I didn't know how to react emotionally because I don't know how it made any type of sense, but the fanboy in me just couldn't stop smiling at the idea of it. That I didn't care. So it was just one of those things where like I didn't know how to feel, and that's why I just stopped caring about what might happen, and I just want them to show me. I'm not thinking about the future as far as when it comes to DC because it gives me a headache, and I just don't know what their exact plans are. So for me, I know something's cool is coming because Michael Keaton is involved and Tim Burton Batman. Not like we've heard reports that he would be taking over the Ben Affleck role. But I think what they meant is like what Ben Affleck's character would have probably been if he was still involved. Not so much that he's playing Ben Affleck version of Batman is what I think what they meant. So that character, Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batman, will be in this movie because of obviously Barry going back in time to save his mother.
There is a little bit more veggies to this plate. Apparently, it was also widely speculated. I won't say if it was from Humberto or not, but it was widely speculated that Michael Keaton's role could stretch beyond Flashpoint.
Yeah, THR reported that there are talks that there are talks for him to take on like a Nick Fury type role in the universe, where he would be a mentor-ish type to a possible Batgirl or something down the line. But obviously nothing is concrete yet because they still haven't. I mean, as far as we know, apparently signed on the dotted line. So this is all still in talks as far as we know.
Right. Me and Joel have had very long talks about this.
Sure have.
And Joel does what he does best, which is temper my expectations.
All the time.
As much as people would assume I was very happy with this news, I was not. Part of me still.
I knew that you were devastated, Juwaan, because that meant that Ben Affleck wouldn't be back. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Juwaan must be crying in his bedroom right now.
See, a lot of people would assume that's why I was upset. That wasn't why I was upset. I was upset because once Ben left, as Joel, it took a long time to accept that wasn't going to be our Batman anymore. And the day that we got a casting of our official Batman going forward, I was all in. All right, Robert Pattinson, let's do it. We started getting set photos, ideas about what the movie's going to be like. I then started to imagine, man, seeing Robert Pattinson with Gale, with Henry, with Ezra, like that's going to look really great. This news broke, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. No. You're not going to tell me I got a DCEU Batman and then an Elseworld Batman. I'm like, that's not what you're about to sell me on. Because I can tell you right now, the way my brain works, I could only focus on the one that I deem that matters, which is the one that's in a continuity. Like the one that could shake hands with Wonder Woman. That's the one my focus would be on. Same way I walked into Joker kind of going, it couldn't, like, even if it's bad, it wouldn't matter to me because it means nothing. So I would walk into Matt Reeves' Batman going, it could be the best Batman I've ever seen in my life, but ultimately it means nothing. I'll never see him interact with Superman. So that's why I'm like, when this news broke, and that's why it's good to talk to someone like Joel, who's very level-headed and doesn't swing too left or right. I looked at it and I kind of just went, you're asking me to care about too many different things. That's why when the CW did Crisis on Infinite Earths, it worked. Why? Because everything that was a one-off was just that. Like, they didn't introduce Huntress from the old show, and she's now part of the current world. Like, no, it was all one-off, so it didn't matter. So my mindset was, if this Michael Keaton is a mentor to Barry throughout Flashpoint, and then obviously once Flashpoint, like once the movie ends, you know, he comes to a new reality and it's Robert's Batman, you could color me excited. Yes, let's do it. Can't wait to see what they do going forward. But if you're now telling me Reeves' Batman exists and Keaton's Batman is the DCEU Batman, here's the main reason why I'm upset with that. I've told Joel this. I've never been a fan of introducing Terry McGinnis until you have had a elongated storyline of Bruce Wayne that ends with him retiring and ultimately giving it up to Terry. You not even giving me a full-fledged, and again, this is Ben's fault, not Warner Brothers, a full-fledged Bruce Wayne to interact with the DC universe, and now you're telling me the Bruce Wayne we get is a mentor that is ultimately bringing up other Bat members? No. And anyone that's a true Batman fan should not be okay with us getting old-ass Bruce before we see a young Bruce interacting with the Justice League. So that's where my mind went, and that's why I ultimately was like, nope, no. No, I don't want any of that. But before I go to you, Tia, Joel, did your mind at any point of this news immediately, like part of you go, if this is true, it's possible they're trying to build to Terry being the Batman that takes place within the DCEU?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, it went through my brain because in the back of my mind, I was as upset as I was at the possibility of Robert Pattinson, because that's really the main thing. I really want the the movie that's going to be the future of Batman to be part of this Justice League universe. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
What makes the most sense? I want that Batman in there because that's going to be my Batman going forward. Just makes the most sense. But yeah, when it became Michael Keaton, and there was like, well, if you're bringing in Michael Keaton, and he's old Batman, and maybe their way of doing it is introducing Terry to be the new Batman, and now you have Batman Beyond hanging out with the Justice League, which is weird in its own right. But I almost might be down because how long has it been since we've been wanting a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton? And that might be possible now with this whole news. But I'm like, but my mind still can't get the fact out that like we never got proper Batman, enough of proper Batman with this version of the Justice League. So it's like I don't know how to react to this, and it's like as cool as it would be, and yeah, that would probably be the only way I would accept Keaton staying long term is that you're telling me Terry McGinnis is going to be part of the future. But it's still fucking weird, you know. As a fan of Batman, it's just an odd choice to go forward, and especially if Batman, the future of Batman is still Robert Pattinson. It just still doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
That's why the Rap and Umberto's report, and Tia, I'm about to go to you. The Rap and Umberto's report, and then the Hollywood Reporter's report. They're contradictory to each other.
A little bit, yeah.
Why. The Hollywood Reporter telling us that they're eyeing Keaton's Batman to be like the mentor of essentially the DCEU, but then Umberto's like, no. Pattinson's Batman is still the future. Well, wait a minute.
You're right.
Mentor of the DCEU means he's Bruce Wayne and is mentoring the DCEU, but wait a minute, Robert Pattinson's also playing Bruce Wayne. So it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
One of those can't stay. Like, no, I don't want two Bruce Waynes.
I think that's what it seems like. At least that's how THR makes it seem. Like Robert Pattinson's trilogy, you're gonna have your young Batman with that, but you're still as part of this DC universe, you're gonna have an Elseworld Batman be Batman. It doesn't make sense anyway. So because Robert Pattinson is also an Elseworld. So like, if you're gonna say that Michael Keaton exists, that means Robert Pattinson. So I don't want to hear no bullshit. You could include him if you want him. And according to Umberto, who did his own video, says he doesn't know if they're going to connect it or not. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. It just seems like that's right now. He knows that this Flashpoint won't affect Matt Reeves' movies. That's all he knows.
Right, but Joel, and you've said this to me since the beginning. No one's ever said that Reeves' Batman is connected to anything.
Right.
No one's ever said that. Me and you called bullshit because we're like,
or not.
No. You're not going to get us invested in another Batman that potentially could be gone after a few movies, and we're now looking for another Batman to be in place with your current Justice League. Like, no, you're not going to sell us on that BS. Not at all.
Yeah, don't be bullshitting me.
So I was telling Kanan, I'm like, if you're going to do Michael Keaton is there and is Bruce Wayne, right? And as much as I would hate this, and it would honestly go against everything I believe in, at that point, scrap Reeves and just make Robert Pattinson Terry McGinnis. So that way you get the best of both worlds. Keaton is still the mentor. Robert is still a version of Batman that I think he fits way more than the idea of him being Bruce Wayne. And you get the best of both worlds. But to me, one of these reports is drastically wrong. Not a little bit, drastically wrong. I don't know who. That it's not a concern of mine. Joel has calmed my mind and my soul. But one of them is 100% wrong.
That is not my problem.
But Tia, sorry. That was going to be long-winded of me because I was very passionate and upset. But what are your thoughts on the report, and how confused would you be if we get Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne and then Matt Reeves' Bruce Wayne?
Not very confused. I feel like I have stopped wanting continuity from DC. I think Marvel has kind of conditioned us to think that everything needs to connect and that we need to have these characters in a long-lasting way. But prior to all of this, connective universes, no one had played Batman for more than 2 or 3 movies. So it wouldn't be any different if Robert Pattinson did 3 movies and then walked away from it. To me, it would be fine. I'm okay with that. At this point, DC has been excelling when they are doing the individual universes, such as the Joker. So to me, I wouldn't mind if Robert Pattinson's, Batman trilogy was just that trilogy, and that was it. We're already getting a shit ton of Batman characters from there, so I really wouldn't feel like we were lacking so much. Please don't say scrap the Matt Reeves universe. I am so excited to see that. But as far as Michael Keaton coming in, I was a little confused. But then I thought I thought to myself, it's kind of like what they're doing with, say, like J.K. Simmons. You know how they brought him in, and his J. Jonah Jameson was in a different Spider-Man universe than now the current MCU. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. They're doing it for fans. Michael Keaton has been widely loved and respected as one of the best Bruce Waynes. So it's like, and if he's up for it, then why not, right? To me, that doesn't really bother me. How they decide to bring him in is, only time will tell, and all this speculation kind of will probably make us all want our heads to explode. So we might as well kind of just like, all right, let's see where they go with it. Joel, you saying something there?
Yeah, well, we're on the same wavelength.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you want to say anything? But I will say that the only thing that upset me a little about Michael Keaton coming in, and it really has nothing to do with him, but then people were saying that, the previous reports that they said about, say, Jeffrey Dean Morgan coming in and playing, the Thomas Wayne version of Batman in The Flash and Flashpoint, I was down for that. But when they're saying like, scrap that rumor completely, it's, that wasn't the rumor. He's not coming in as Batman. In fact, it was Michael Keaton coming in as Batman. That's the Batman. And I was like, what, can't we have both? So that was like my one thing with the Michael Keaton news. Nothing against him coming in. He's freaking Michael Keaton. But I was a little upset that kind of seems to have been the Batman rumor, and that the J.D. Morgan one is, in fact, the false rumor.
Okay, you said one thing that goes against every grain of my body.
I know, but that's how you and I normally are when it comes to Batman. We'll never be on the same wavelength.
It was the only thing out of what you said that I just thought was just like, no, I can't agree with that. And that was everything that is a superhero universe does need to have a form of a continuity. There should never be, like, I don't want Valiant to just make, here's a project, here's a project, here's a project. You'll never see them combine. That, to me, is useless. Like, where you can do it is, like, no, you can't even do it there. No, I was going to say, like, G.I. Joe, Transformers. No, even that needs to be a continuity. Justice League is a team. Meaning, I don't ever want to see 3 Wonder Woman movies, 3 Aquaman movies, 3 Batman movies, 3 Flash movies, and then you recast and then decide to do a team-up movie, and then you recast and then decide to do more so. That is, like, the most craziest thing ever. You do build-up movies, and then you combine. There always needs to be a continuity, because that's where they come from. All Marvel did was show you that you could successfully do it. Like, that's all they did. They didn't taint it. They didn't overpower. They just showed you it's possible. So if you're DC...
Yeah, it's possible if you're Disney, but freaking, it seems like Warner Brothers hasn't been able to get their hands on it because they had the opportunity. It's not like their DC EU is just starting now. It's been a thing since 2013. They've had an opportunity, and they seemingly have done a shit job since then.
Yeah, but their issue was, and again, it's old management, so we won't really focus much on it. They're under new management. But the old management signed off on you doing a team-up movie before you introduced anybody else. You introduced Superman and then said, welcome to our world of Justice League. Wait, what? Like, don't you want to build some more people? No, we want to get right to it. So that's where they messed up. That's it, though, Tia, because Wonder Woman, great success. Aquaman, great success. Shazam, great success. From the looks of it, Flash, if it came out 80 years ago when it should have, would have been a great success. Man of Steel, great success. So they have the ability to build with their characters. The problem is they started wrong. They started from the finish line and then was running to the starting line. And it's like, no, that's not how you run a race. If they had started at the starting point, they have shown us they can make great solo movies. So I'm like, they're showing you continuity can work. The fact that Shazam had the Superman newspaper clipping and the Batarang shows you it could loosely connect Diana getting a letter from Bruce. It shows you it can loosely connect and work perfectly. Like they did less building, or they did less continuity than Marvel did, and it worked. The problem was they were playing catch up, not to Marvel. That's the problem people have always had. Oh, you were trying to hurry up and catch up to Marvel. No. Zack Snyder had a process in his brain that only made sense to Zack Snyder. It did not make sense to anybody else that was not inside that man's brain. But again, that's why I said you should have just done a soft reboot where you said Justice League didn't happen. It started from Man of Steel, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Flash solo, Batman solo. Then you start to loosely integrate them coming together that builds into a Justice League movie. That's legit all you had to do. No confusion. This news coming out, people would have just chalked up to, oh, that's going to be Thomas Wayne and Flashpoint. That's it. But the fact that your world is in such shambles because you started from the end, makes people go, it's very possible they could be giving us two Batmans. Like, think about this. Think about if something came out in Marvel, right? Like, they had built up Ironheart, and it was like, oh, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man could be coming back. We would ultimately say, only in a mentorship. Like, he's not coming back to fully suit up. He'd be like an AI inside of her helmet or whatever. We would think rationally with that, right? With DC, it's like they throw shit at the wall and it sticks, and we're like, yeah, no, I could see them doing that crazy shit. Like, that's what they've worked themselves up to. And
luckily they went older this time, though.
Yeah.
So he definitely is a mentor role.
I mean, Michael Keaton's not doing all the freaking craziness that, we would have expected, say, like Ben Affleck to do or Robert Pattinson to do. I mean, I don't know even how far he's going to go as Vulture in the future Marvel movies. Because, as much as we all like Michael Keaton, as much as we all love Michael Keaton, he's getting up there.
I will tell you this. When this news came out, I can neither confirm nor deny this because, as Joel knows, it's all speculative in my head. As soon as this news came out, I will tell you right now, Sony called Feige and said, how quickly can we do Sinister Six? They locked in Michael Keaton for the next 5 years. But I guarantee you that was the first call made when that news dropped. Feige, did you see this shit? I saw it. What can we do? Dom, welcome, man. You joined just in time. We were talking the Michael Keaton rumor. I don't want to say news, right, Joel? Because it's still a rumor, right?
It's not a rumor. It's just it's not official yet.
Okay, it's unofficial news, I'll say. That Michael Keaton could be joining the DCEU as Bruce Wayne from his Batman 89. Like, not a new Bruce Wayne, the same one we saw.
89 Batman, 30 years later.
Right, super old. And we would see him for the first time, as the news said, in Flashpoint. Now, I want to ask you, does it make your brain kind of start to throb thinking about that Bruce Wayne and the fact that we still have another Bruce Wayne filming right now? The idea that one could be canon, one possibly could not be.
Yeah, I know we love Batman and everything, but like, I don't know if they're trying to do like they're gonna do some kind of weird Doctor Who collide of the worlds type of aspect. Like, we just have a million Batmans, or like those Power Ranger episodes where you have like all the Red Rangers. I mean, because it's getting kind of out of hand with like how many Batmans we're gonna have. I mean, of course we all want to see Michael Keaton. I mean, it's Michael Keaton. And I did see like a video earlier today of him like doing a speech at a graduation, and I don't know how new or old it was, but his last words were, "I'm Batman." So he's excited, and in some respect. So, I mean, I guess I'm at the point now. If it's good, I don't care. I mean, I'll take it as long as it's good. So I'm cool with it.
It's just like I said before, Dom, before you joined in. It's the type of crazy shit only DC could get away with.
Yeah.
legit, only they could get away with this, to where you kind of go, all right, shit, let's see if it works. I mean, me and Joel were saying last year, thinking about what they could do with Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's like, how crazy could they get? And they exceeded expectations, because it was like, wait a minute. We didn't think you could get that crazy. The fact that you had Ezra and Grant on the same screen is some shit really only DC could pull off, because it's so insane. Because when everyone saw it, it was like, no one thought like that was even remotely possible. I thought it was green screen. I didn't even think they were in the same room. That's how crazy I thought that was. So it's like only DC could do this, but that's why me and Joel said we hate time travel. We hate multiverses. We hate all that, because it creates craziness like this. Like me and Joel remember talking about how Flashpoint could answer the question of, how does Robert Pattinson's Batman get into the DCU? We never thought we would be saying, how could Flashpoint implement an old-ass Batman to be a mentor of an entire universe while still having another Bruce Wayne somewhere out there in a multiverse somewhere else? Never once thought about that.
Yeah, it's almost like they are legit treating the video medium like a comic book. You know what I mean? So we have different, runs of different characters at the same time. It just depends on which one you rather see or read or not. So maybe that's what they're thinking. And, to the average, to most of us, we're like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, no, this is like, if you read this comic and you read that one, it's the same person, just different people writing it.
No, and to Tia's point of it not necessarily needing to be a huge continuity, where I would have agreed with that, Tia, is if right after they decided they didn't want Zack Snyder really being like the head of their universe anymore, is if they kind of said, we're not going to reboot, we're not going to soft reboot, just know this, nothing's connected anymore. Like, nothing at all. Don't worry about a Justice League movie down the line. None of this is connected. We're going to finish out Wonder Woman in 3 or 4 movies. We're going to finish out Aquaman in 3 or 4. We'll get Ezra at some point. Robert's doing his. We'll decide if everything is good, is a success, whether or not we want to thread them together. If they said that, do what you want with Michael Keaton, because we don't even know if it matters. But the fact that we know for a fact that they are within the same universe, Ezra with Jason, with Godot, is the reason why I say to you, it's already a continuity. Keep it as such. But go ahead, Dom.
So does that mean that Keaton is going to be possibly the first person to be active in 2 different universes at the same time, with him playing Vulture still, because he's in Morbius, and then him possibly playing Bruce Wayne?
I would say yes to that, if not for the fact of the beautiful black man that no one can pronounce the name of has hopped between both franchises at least 50 times in the past 10 years. I would say
Simon Hansu.
Yes.
Simon Hansu.
Yes. He is the one actor that everyone just doesn't care that he was just like yesterday.
Simon Hansu.
Wait, who are we talking about? Who is that? Is he the guy from Guardians and Shazam?
Yes, and he was in Captain Marvel.
Right.
Well, he was reprising his role in Captain Marvel that he was playing in Guardians of the Galaxy. So that was the same character, and then he played a different. Right. Oh, by the way, and Juwaan, he was also in Push. Remember? We had our.
Right. Yes, I do. But yeah, so I mean, this is
the Wizard Shazam.
This is, and I do want to say this because I know a lot of people are like, Juwaan, you're a hypocrite. You were just saying how you love Batman on TV in multiple facets, and I'm like, the reason why that works is because we know what each entity is. We know the Batman in the CW has nothing to do with the Batman in Titans. Like, we don't have to worry about seeing the Titans Batman appear on the Flash one day. Like, that's never going to cross. So we don't have to worry about that. Even
though they did they showed like a 2-second clip of what was it? Oh God, what is his name? Jason Todd in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
They did.
Right.
It's part of the multiverse. Right. It's a giant multiverse. It's all connected.
That's
all
what,
of it.
if you kept up with Flash Tia, that's what Cisco was saying, to where they thought they closed everything to one Earth. Cisco's like, no. There's still like one or two out there.
Yeah, how convenient.
There's like 10.
Multiverse out there. But yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm excited to see Keaton come back. I mean, I think the craziest thing was a lot of people consider him to be the best Batman ever. That never got a chance to interact with a Superman or a Wonder Woman. And, you know, would that be great to see? Absolutely. But will it still bother me knowing that I'm preparing for Robert, and then right after Robert, I'm preparing to see him for possibly more than just that movie? Yeah.
Oh, Juwaan.
Joel, we did get some more DC news. We got some Green Lantern news you want to lay on us.
Oh, talk about fucking weird. It gets weirder. The next day after the Keaton news, we get fucking, it's a rumor. It's just a rumor. There's not even, I haven't even seen anybody actually report on it. So it's just a legit rumor. We've heard rumors that we will get a Green Lantern. Well, we already knew that we probably might get a Green Lantern in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. But apparently it won't be just a Green Lantern. It will be Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. Cameoing in. That sounded like bullshit when I first heard it. But I'm like, I saw a couple people running with it, and then some people have heard some stuff. And I don't know what to believe. I'm taking it with a large grain of salt at the moment, but still, that is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Bringing Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern into to that universe of all universes, the Zack Snyder Justice League universe. And look, I'm all for Green Lantern. To me, a Justice League without a Green Lantern is incomplete. I don't care who else you have on there. Without the Green Lantern, it's an incomplete roster. So even if it's Ryan Reynolds, I'll be happy. But at the same time, what a choice. Is it connected to the movie, or is he playing a Green Lantern separate altogether? But who knows? At the moment, it's still one of the craziest things because everyone's just going to look back to the movie he made years ago that did not do well at all at the box office.
Yeah, this for me will not be like the last topic. I choose not to give any life to this. It would stress me only because it's like this version of his Justice League would still, in some weird alternate way, still somewhat be a version of canon because it's using the same characters. It's just not necessarily continuity canon because it wasn't the theatrical release. But it's legit still the same characters. So I'm like, if Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern pops up in it in any capacity, like, what do you do going forward? Like, when you bring in a new Hal Jordan, how do you, like, throw away the one that we just saw? It's a lot of thinking that, as Joel tells me, not to worry about, but it's like, you can't help but ask the question.
In my opinion, if he shows up, it's because there's definitely there's plans for him in the future. You don't just bring him in for a one-off, in my opinion.
Which would be even, because now what would bother me, and I always say this, I don't like a director to have an actor when he goes into a project. So if that is true, you're now telling whoever's directing your Green Lantern movie, hey, we already got your Hal Jordan. You just worry about whatever else comes with it. What if I don't want him? Like, too bad. Ryan Reynolds, that's your guy. Go forward.
You can kill him off if you want.
I will say this, Joel. If that is true, another phone call is being made.
To Disney.
Hey, how quickly can we get Deadpool 3 going so they can't get Green Lantern?
These are our contract negotiations, by the way.
But this is the hilarious thing about it is that, come on, like it's giving material to Deadpool 3 because it'd be like he would make some sort of jab about being Green Lantern again, and then some sort of jab would come out like, didn't you kill him in Deadpool 2? He's like, yeah, but you know, money or something like something. Like, it would just be like a hilarious joke. And the thing is that listen, Ryan Reynolds played one version of Deadpool and then got the opportunity to
play a better version of Deadpool.
Yes.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
going to come to be where, he gets to play a better version of Hal Jordan. To me, I saw all these things where people are like, oh, if he's Hal Jordan, that means he's definitely not going to be Wade Wilson anymore. And I was like, all right, Disney Marvel haters, simmer down. I know it's been a really good week for you guys, but chill out.
What's always been funny about that is no one's ever said that's been the case. Like, no one's ever came out and was like, I was in a Marvel movie, and they told me I couldn't be in a DC movie, so Marvel for life. Like, no one's ever said that. So I don't know where people keep getting that from, but
because it's this petty rivalry between the two fandoms, people who can't understand that you can like both and that these are actors and directors and they can be in both, like James Gunn being in Marvel and now being in DC.
I will say this, Dom, you'll appreciate this. I was telling my uncle Otis, I was saying, because he was saying how young I was during the East Coast West Coast beef. And he was like, man, if you only knew how bad the East Coast West Coast beef was back in the day. And I'm like, no. I've seen it. And he was like, no, you were too young. I'm like, no. I've seen the modern day. Marvel is easily almost as bad as the East Coast West Coast. It's just less murders. But they use Twitter as a weapon. It is just as annoying. Because I can tell you right now, if you were from the South, you were watching the East Coast, West Coast, like, who cares? Like, who gives a shit about that? And us being fans of both, we're looking at these idiots who are trying to, pull each other apart, and we're like, why can't you just like what you like and they like what they like? Why does something have to suck? But yeah. To get back to Ryan Reynolds, what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't have an issue with him reprising his role as Hal Jordan, especially if that means he's Hal going forward. Hal Jordan was not what I hated coming out of that movie. I will say that to the day I die. Hal Jordan was easily the best thing, same as his Wade Wilson, not Deadpool. His Wade Wilson was easily the best thing coming out of Origins. Ryan Reynolds is usually never bad in something. It's just usually Ryan Reynolds is always in something bad. That is the shtick that Ryan Reynolds attaches himself to. So I wouldn't have a problem with that. My only issue would be, is it going to commit? And we remember what the idea of the story of Green Lantern was always going to be, which was a mentorship of Hal Jordan to a younger John Stewart. So Ryan Reynolds is not an old guy. I think he's maybe late 30s, early 40s. I think
mid-40s.
Mid-40s, really?
Yeah, he's like 43, 42, I think.
He just looks that good at that age.
There's only two actors that I look at and I can never tell how old they are. Chris Pine and Ryan Reynolds. I could never guess, not even remotely guess how old they are. They just have perfect faces. But still, I think that's kind of young still. But anyway, none for me to worry about now. I'd have no problem with it. It would create more questions than it would answers. And that's something that I've always hated about DC. Start answering some shit. Stop leaving us with questions that we got to answer. He's how old?
43.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. I would never guess that. Tom, what are your thoughts about if Ryan Reynolds does reprise his role, even if it's just for Justice League, or even if it's for beyond just that? What are your thoughts on him reprising the role?
Mine were the same as Tia. It was, he has a chance to reboot his character and do it better, and I think it just depends on how. Are they gonna let him be goofy, or is he gonna have to be serious? Because the tone of the latest DCU films are they're not serious, but the tone is a little bit more serious than say the first Green Lantern was. And Ryan Reynolds doesn't do serious very often, but he seems to be a person who also, as of late, has a lot of control over the things that he does, seeing how Deadpool went. So it could be interesting. I think it will be something that he doesn't do very long. I feel like it'll be a passing of the torch to John Stewart. They just want him there to kind of jump it off,
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what essentially it seemed like when the first reports came out that it could be Tom Cruise. That was Hal Jordan. That's what everyone was speculating. Like,
He's so small.
He's just a launching. That would be a really short Hal Jordan. That'd be really.
And Tom doesn't like to let go either. He would never wear that mask again.
Right.
That was the issue on why they couldn't sell him on Iron Man. He was like, wait. I had to cover this shit up. Nope, I don't want that.
Which I never understand that.
His first argument would be, why is the black guy not wear a mask, but I have to wear a mask? It doesn't make sense. He'd be so mad.
But no, that's what I told you always upset me about Robert Downey Jr. It's like, all right, no, he wore the mask, but I still had to see his fucking face in the mask. No, get out of here. Just show me the mask. I was like, I hated that shit so much. You think you forgot you were in there? Your thoughts on if Ryan Reynolds did decide to come back?
Oh, I mean, I guess it's like the other thing. I don't really have that much of a stake in it because I never actually watched the previous Green Lantern movie because I had heard how awful it was, and I was like, I don't feel like subjecting myself to that. But I mean, I like Ryan Reynolds. If he wants to come back and it seems like they're trying to find ways now to kind of bring back older stuff and kind of tap into maybe that nostalgia, like how they're doing with Keaton, or just do something fun like they were doing, say, for Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they brought in the Smallville actor and Kevin Conroy and all this stuff. So it would be cool, and I like the idea of maybe him coming in for just simply passing the torch to Jon Stewart, because, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we've never seen a live-action Jon Stewart, and for those of us like myself who grew up on the Justice League animated show and Justice League Unlimited, Jon Stewart was our Green Lantern. You know me, I'm not the biggest comic book reader, especially when I was a kid, so I didn't even know that Hal Jordan was a Green Lantern. To me, my Green Lantern was Jon Stewart. So that would be your perfect opportunity to bring him into the current DCEU and kind of have it almost as a nod to have Ryan Reynolds finally be able to be in a decent Green Lantern role and be able to pass the torch to a Jon Stewart.
Well, the way Hal Jordan, once he passed the torch, the way that it always worked was he was more of a, and I know this term is very loose, but more of a galactic protector, not just the Earth sector. So that's where John focused. Was the Earth sector, and Hal was more I'm chilling on Oa, seeing kind of what's going on around space, what I can get my hands on. So I'd be cool with that as long as Ryan Reynolds is okay periodically appearing as Hal Jordan. The original reports were Tom Cruise's Green Lantern was going to die. Don't do that shit, ever. If you're going to do Hal Jordan that passes it on to John, he does not have to die to pass that torch.
That was another thing that stopped Tom. Tom didn't want him to die.
Right. And I'm I've never seen, could you picture, passing the baton, someone killed the guy that passed it, and it's no, you have to die before you pass it to him. No, that's not how it works. You just pass it, and then you just go away for you to possibly come back. So it's that's what you should do. But you're right, Tia. DC looks to, I feel like they're all right, you guys don't really like the new shit that we do. So what if we just continue to pull on the nostalgia? And I'm all right, yeah, no, that works, but I don't like my Bruce Wayne being 90. So I'm rectify that shit. I need a younger Bruce Wayne. Me and Joel loved Ben, but we always hated that you started Batman at 40. It was
yeah, I was never a fan of that.
Why?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Me, and what was more upsetting was you were telling me, hey, you guys remember all that good shit you loved about Batman? Yeah, it already happened.
Yeah, we passed it, all of it.
What?
And we killed off Dick Grayson.
Yeah, what? What are you saying? So that's also the other thing that bothers me. Can we get a storyline of a young Bruce Wayne that goes through Court of the Owls, that goes through Hush, that goes through like really important stuff. Long Halloween, like that
That
goes
we can
through really
watch.
important stuff that we can see progress.
I will say, the Michael Keaton's Batman currently would be, and we don't need to get too much into this because you guys already talked about it beforehand, but I think he would be a pretty good version of the Bruce Wayne that we did see in Batman Beyond. Like, if you have to sit there and think of like a person who formerly played Bruce Wayne who could fit into that role, I can't see Ben Affleck fitting into that type of Bruce Wayne, but I can definitely see Michael Keaton fitting into that version of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's a quick way to get Ben to spit in your face. It's like, hey, Ben, you know how you worked really hard on that body? Yeah. All right. Well, we need you to sit in a chair for like a full 2.5 hours. Can I do it with my shirt off? No, you're supposed to be an old man. Don't take your shirt off. Keep that all buttoned up. Like I have my face. But I will say the two most accurate looks in comic book history to me are if Michael Keaton does take on the role of Old Man Bruce, because he looks almost exactly like Old Man Bruce from Batman Beyond, and Ben looks exactly like Bruce Wayne from Batman the Animated Series. I mean, I thought Zack casted him purely off of that. I'm like, he looks, even the chin, the little detail in the chin is exactly like the cartoon Bruce Wayne. It's insane. But
I still say that Zack's first choice was actually Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but they wanted someone more famous.
This is why I would have loved Jeffrey Dean Morgan to come back as Thomas Wayne for that version of Batman, because he would be really good at like a darker version of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, would I have liked the Jeffrey Dean Morgan Bruce Wayne? Because he always had that grizzleness about him that just fit the Thomas Wayne from Flashpoint. So I'm like, I've always saw his face and went, more Thomas, less Bruce. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I could have ever like really seen that. I don't know, because now I always just think
they wanted an old Bruce.
And he is older. J.D. Morgan is older than Ben Affleck. So
they went after Josh Brolin. He's even older.
Let me say where I call small BS on that Jeffrey Dean Morgan take, Joel. There's no way Zack had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in mind, but had his Batman look as big as Ben's did. like you look at Ben's body, and even if you look at Josh's body to a degree, that's a bulkiness you just couldn't imagine Jeffrey Dean Morgan getting to.
I disagree. He looked pretty big in Watchmen.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
J.D. Morgan and Zack have worked together before.
Yeah, and I would say his body in Watchmen is about as big as I can imagine Josh Brolin could get. Like, he couldn't get any bigger than that. Like, Ben is like, that's like what statues look like back in Greece. No one could get to that. But, like, as far as, like, a normal Bruce Wayne body at that age, Josh Brolin and Jeffrey Dean Morgan would fit that. Yeah, so I apologize. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He was big as shit in Watchmen. Yeah.
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Ben Affleck are around the same height. I didn't know this. Ben Affleck is like 6'4".
Yeah, he's a fucking monster.
He's pretty big, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is 6'1". Josh Brolin is 5'10", so he would definitely be the shortest of the choices there.
Me and Joel always said it made us laugh looking at Henry stand next to Ben and kind of going, Batman and Superman should never be around the same height, or Batman a little tall. Like, that should never be the case. It's a little bit of a discrepancy.
Everybody's different. I always imagine Batman is shorter because I don't know. I just always thought Superman was taller. Maybe because he's always flying, like floating above him. So it's just a visual.
No, he's not that much shorter though. Henry's only 6'1", so it's not that.
Right. No, you're right.
Inches.
No, but Joel makes a great point because it's what freaked me out every time I saw Hugh Jackman and what's his name on screen together. I'm like,
Cable?
No.
Cyclops.
Yeah, Cyclops. I'm like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, You've been showing me in cartoons and comics how small Wolverine is. Why is he so tall? Like,
They went
Yeah,
the
the
exact
Cyclops.
opposite.
like,
Yeah,
what?
they changed it.
I'm like, wait a minute. And you made him somewhat like the pseudo leader. I'm like, all right, this is too much. This is too much, guys. But all right, let's move on. That's all the news we have from DC, right, Joel?
Crazy news. Yeah, I mean that's as far. I mean nothing dropped today, so clear.
Good. I did want to talk a little bit about a few projects that are going back into filming. We know Matrix 4 is heading back to filming. Batman is not far away from heading back to filming. I'm really curious on how they're gonna pull all this off. You having to do smaller sets and stuff like that. It's not easy. I mean, it's not gonna be easy at all. But hey, man, all these movies that keep getting pushed back, it's giving me all kinds of it's making me freak out. It really is. Because I'm like, theaters are talking about opening back up to no movies. Like, you're gonna open back up and just show re-releases? You think I'm gonna give you my money? You're already too expensive. You think I'm gonna pay for shit I already seen?
They need to drop the price in that case. They need to drop the price.
See, you want to know something funny? I think they're just banking on the fact that people would miss being in theaters, that they wouldn't really care.
No.
And I think they would have a fair argument to that.
No.
But I know they won't be getting my money. if you're telling me Tenet is being dropped there, maybe. I'll see if I could stream it illegally first. But I damn sure would rather see Tenet than Endgame again in theaters. So I mean, I just wanted to give a shout out to all these movies that are starting production again. God bless you. Not gonna be easy. But the selfish part of me, get that ass back to work. Give me so hurry up with that. But before we get out of DC, I do want to talk something because I just remembered we haven't had an episode about it. So, and I know Joel wants to talk about this. DC FanDome.
Yeah.
Coming in August 22nd, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Me and Joel, before we get into the details of FanDome, I did want to talk about this because me and Joel talked about this for a while, and we were thinking, could be the start of some shit. Joel, so I want to start with you, get your take. If FanDome is a hit, right? We already know Marvel does its own thing with D23. But that very easily could be a branch off of Marvel just doing its own thing. If DC FanDome hits, how likely do you think it is New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con become more of a breeding ground for actors to just do signings and appearances and less of promoting major superhero movies because they might just regulate that to something like a FanDome? For DC. So if that's a hit, how likely do you see them pulling from San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con going forward?
It's quite likely. I mean, like you just mentioned, Disney does it now with D23. Now it's bi-yearly or whatever, so it's not every year. And DC can do something similar if they really want it with their own product, which they will be doing soon for free. On the internet, online, but it's already kind of like it seems like it's already predicting its future by saying FanDome instead of fandom, because it could have banned what dome are we entering? A digital dome? So eventually, I think they're gonna get into a real dome, and we can get into like an actual arena where they can do their thing, and they have TV, video games, movies, cartoons, comics. They got everything. Anything and everything DC has their hands in, so they have more than enough content to throw their own con, just like Marvel does if they want to even separate it from D23, which no need to do that, but I'm saying they can.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for you, Joel, but the last couple of years we've been going to New York Comic-Con, I'm definitely going there more so for the superhero stuff than anything else. Like if they pulled all the superhero stuff, I'm legit now just walking the floors for an experience, I guess. So I'm like, no, me and Joel wouldn't spend half the money we do to do New York Comic Con if there was no superhero stuff. Would it be like, hey, would you like to go on a Saturday because we have press passes? Maybe. But it's like you'd have to be doing something that like really gets us to want to go. But the idea of sitting at a round table with the cast of Titans is something that definitely will be with me and Joel forever. But like you get rid of that, what do you think I'm going there for? Like a Netflix show? It had to be a damn good show. But yeah, I think if you do that, you corner your market. San Diego Comic-Con would still exist because all your NBC shows or USA shows or Netflix shows, they would all still go there and have panels. It just wouldn't be for anything superhero related. But something like The Boys would still be at a San Diego Comic-Con because they don't have a big enough library for them to have their own convention. So I personally would love it if DC and Marvel had their own thing for us to look forward to every year. That way we know, all right, it's going to be 4 hours. This is what we're getting. All the BS is out of here. We know we're focusing on blah, 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 and blah. End of the story. Tia, I asked you, how likely do you think that is that if FanDome is a hit, it could be all she wrote for DC appearing at San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con going forward?
I guess they would just have to see where the cons and the pros are with that, because it could be one of those things where maybe they continue having their FanDome but also remain in San Diego Comic-Con just to see, like, you know, if they fully pulled out of San Diego Comic-Con, what would be the disadvantage of that, you know? I just think that would be one of those things where they have to see going forward where the, you know, positives and the negatives are necessarily. Now, wanting to comment on what you said, prior to working with Geek Vibes Nation, I did just go to New York Comic Con just to walk the floor. I never did any of the other stuff that, like, what we did this past year, I was like, wow, the hours went by so fast. And Brittany was like, that's because we were, like, working. And I was like, this never happened before. So, I mean, yeah, I just want to have a good time. But I would be very sad if, you know, both Marvel and DC fully pulled out of New York Comic Con, let's say, because if DC and if FanDome was just always an online experience, that'd be great. But if they want to do like a physical meetup, you know, it's all going to be in freaking like California. I live in New York, so that would totally be a disadvantage to me because for some reason, you know, Hollywood and all these other studios love to make movies and TV shows about New York, but they never want their freaking actors to come to New York Comic Con. So it's like, I understand it. So that's like a little bit I have because you know that they would just all put it over in California.
I don't
That's a selfish thing for me.
I don't disagree with that. I will say, on the surface, I don't know what any of the negatives would be. If there are any negatives, it'd be very little, if any, because you're maximizing profit, because you're now taking a corner of the market and expanding it just within yourself until Marvel decides to do the same thing, and now you're sharing the market. But I don't know what a negative would be. But I will say that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, really quick. It's one of those things where it's like the negative could be like, say if someone just has the time to take off work or the money to go to only one event, but luckily both DC and Marvel are there and they have that. But in this case, if they have two separate things and then maybe you also want to go to San Diego Comic-Con to catch something like The Boys, that's three things that someone would have to take the time off of work for, save up the money for. So it could be a negative in that fact for the consumers.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be a negative for us.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, not a negative for them. People would still show, and as long as they did, I think they'd be like, no, we're okay with that. But I will say, the one advantage you guys have, Dom, you've been to conventions before coming with GVN. Joel, you've been to New York Comic-Con before coming with GVN, correct?
Yeah.
Tia, you've been to New York Comic-Con before going to GVN.
Yeah.
I hate all three of you because my only experience with these cons is working. I've never been able to get before.
Honestly, Juwaan,
Working.
I have to say really quick, that was my first convention. It was back in like 2012, right? I wasn't even expecting to go there. One of my friends, this is back when you can get like the 4-day passes and then like just give someone a day pass. Like he was like, oh, I've already been there for 2 days and I don't feel like going on Sunday. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah. And he gave me it. And like literally I went by myself, like didn't meet up with anyone, just walked around like this place is great.
Like, I mean, I don't get why they changed that. Change that. If I spent the money, why can't I give my pass away?
Well, so you said that you've always done it through GVN, and we know how like the press passes go. But I don't know for anyone out there who has experienced the whole let me wait at the computer for 4 hours in order to get a frickin' ticket because all the scalpers are flooding the entire queue. So I think they tried to do that to minimize on the wait, because literally there was one time I waited like 3 hours just by the computer waiting to be like transferred to the next stage of buying your freaking ticket.
I'll just say I've never been a fan I've never been a fan of you limiting what I can do once I spend my money. Like if I pay for Netflix and I want to give 18% of the neighborhood my Netflix password, I don't get how you should be able to tell me I can't do that. Like, so, like, if that's the case, just increase how much it costs to do Netflix, so that way I'm feeling cheated out by giving it away because I'm paying so much. Do that. That would probably change a lot of people's minds.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah, Netflix is already raised like a shit ton.
I hate that you can't do that. Like, I would love if we had to pay for our passes, that we could do Friday or Saturday, and then give someone a pass to enjoy Sunday. So I'm not a fan of that. But Dom, I'll start with you, man. In this FanDome, okay, we're supposed to be hearing from James Gunn about Suicide Squad. We better look. I will fist fight Matt Reeves if he ain't there talking something. I told my dad, I'm like, he's like, well, they had to stop shooting. I'm like, Dad, here's the thing.
Everybody stop shooting.
I don't need footage from Matt Reeves. Show me photos. And I'd say, you know what? I can live with it. I mean, people forget Sony showed up to San Diego Comic-Con and showed everybody a flip book of what to expect from the movie. And then maybe a quick 2 or 3 seconds of the movie. I don't even need that. Show me what each character looks like in their costume, because you're not going to tell me everybody hasn't already shot a scene of themselves in their respective costumes. You're just not going to tell me that.
Right.
Show me it. Just show me it. That's all I ask. Just like you're not going to tell me, even though they haven't started filming, you're going to sit here and bullshit me and tell me The Rock hasn't tried on that Black Adam costume? Go ahead and fucking lie to me and tell me he hasn't tried that on yet.
Gotta put the muscles in there.
Come on. He's tried that costume on. Show me what he looks like in it. Like, I'm asking for legit crumbs here. As Joel, usually I'd say, no, give me trailers. I want the actors to show photos. If you don't have any footage, photos. That's it. I'm not asking for a lot. So hopefully we get Andy Muschietti there to clarify some of this flash news that we've been hearing. To me, I told Joel this, the one thing about working in this industry and what we do is it takes away from surprises. Like a lot of what we were hearing about Crisis, we heard prior to seeing it. That's why the Ezra thing made our minds explode, because somehow that was not leaked or even talked about. So I'm like, the fact that this news came out about Michael Keaton, don't hush up now. If it's true, tell us more about it. If it's not, just tell us that it's not true. Like, there is no need to try to surprise us now that the quote-unquote news came out already.
You can even tease Michael Keaton stuff and people wouldn't have believed it.
Right,
because it's just so fucking crazy.
Exactly. So I'm like, now that the cat's out of the bag, if you wait and say nothing and then try to just put it in a movie, it's not going to shock us because we heard the news already, so we're expecting it. So I'm like, at that point, just come out and either confirm or deny it. So out of all those DC projects, plus the games, the mention of the Suicide Squad game, the mention of this Batman game, what are some of the things you're looking forward to from FanDome?
I really want to see, like you were saying, if they can create this avenue for themselves, because if you in the geekdom, if you only focus on DC, if you want to go to a con, you're spending money to see a whole bunch of things that you don't want to see. You might find something that you didn't know you're interested in, but like, you know I've been to Wizard World, used to come here, right? And I know they had a couple Marvel panels, a couple Batman panels. But if you were really into either one of those things, you get this much of the thing you want to see, and the rest of it is something else. And you're like, I just spent, $100 and I got to, spend it on a day. So I think if you are able to have that one big thing, it could be beneficial for the fans. And of course it'd be beneficial to Warner Brothers, DC, but from a fan standpoint, if you had just that one that was like, all I care about is this, and like you said, with them having a catalog, it could work. Because I know I've gone to Walker Soccer Con, and it's very small. I mean, they at the point where they have like buy one get 3 free tickets because like The Walking Dead is very popular, but there's nothing else to go with it, and the show doesn't elicit a lot of excitement. It's just good, you know what I mean? And a lot of people didn't read the comics, so the con's very small. And then this past one got down here got canceled, and then they rescheduled, and they ended up letting people in for free because nobody showed up. But if you, right, but with a DC, a Marvel, if you did like a Doctor Who one, if you did one that was all horror stuff, then I think it could work. I mean, and you're still gonna have the regular conventions, and people are still gonna go because some people dabble in all of them and they want to see a little bit of all of it. But for something as big as DC, you know what I mean? Like, it's all encompassing, and it's all you want to see is that. It can work. But to answer your question, I'm trying to get back into being a gamer on a small scale. So I would like to see what these, a Suicide game would look like and a Batman game would look like, because every time I see all these Batman games, I'm like, oh shit, that looks dope. And then I just let it go by, and I might have played at a friend's house here and there, but just never fully invested in it, besides Injustice 2.
Very good game.
Yeah, so I would like to see that. I'd like to see some games. The graphics are almost too good to ignore nowadays, to where just seeing a trailer alone is like, all right, I'm about to find this $80 to drop on this game and get the extra I need with it. So yeah, I think I'd like to see some games. The trailers, I like to see trailers, but at the same time, I know that half the time we see a trailer for something big, it's always a clip that we never see in the movie. You know what I mean? Which I get. They don't want to spoil anything for you, but like it's almost kind of like a middle finger, like, oh, this looks good, right? You're never gonna see it again until the Blu-ray comes out. So yeah, I think I'd be excited for the video games. Possibly if it's in an actual dome, I would assume they would do like Madison Square Garden, or they do the Superdome, or they do the
no, stop, Madison Square Garden.
Or I could really
start there.
I could really see them doing that new dome in Atlanta that got built, just because
Why so far?
It's close for me.
That's what it sounds like, Dom. It sounds like no, I will say, to your point about trailers, I did speak to somebody. I spoke to somebody through my dad once that put together trailers, and they said the reason why a lot of people do that, they show scenes that aren't in the actual movies, is because people used to get a lot of feedback, like a lot of negative feedback, that most trailers set up a movie. So once you sit down, you're like, I saw that scene. I kind of know where they're going because it consecutively shows you sequences of the movie that once you sit down in it, you're like, all right, I can put this piece here. That's about to happen. This piece there. That's about to happen. So if I show you something that's not actually in the movie, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. That's why the year San Diego Comic-Con dropped the trailer for Infinity War. The trailer they got was not in the actual movie. So that's why, and it was drastically different than the trailer we got. So that way, it was something really cool for those fans to experience that we never really got a chance to experience because it wasn't in the actual movie. Right. But it kind of just changed it up to fit different things. But it's a way to stay fresh. So when you see it, you're not like, I know for a fact when I saw that chick walk past the closet in the trailer, that's probably where that monster's going to pop out at. Like, I know it's coming. So they do it to kind of always keep you guessing. But, no, the games really excite me. But when it comes to this FanDome, I'm here for the movies. Movies and the TV shows. I assume that's where we're going to get our trailer to Titans Season 3. That I don't even know if it started filming or...
I don't think it started filming. But any type of news I get is good for me. You know?
But we've heard nothing about it, Joel. So even if they did start shooting, we would have never... We've heard nothing about it.
But we would have
when
heard
they were
something
going
about
to
them
shoot,
shoot.
if
They were supposed to start shooting already. They would have been shooting right now.
So I want to hear more about that. But yeah, as far as movies, I told Joel, my dad was laughing when I told him. All I want to know is who Idris Elba's playing. That's all I give a shit about. Like, if DC FanDome, like, opens and James Gunn comes on and goes, Idris Elba's playing blah, 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 and then, like, it's shut down, I wouldn't even complain. That is the height of what I need to know. It's been killing me because you've heard so many rumors of who he was going to play. Then it was, like, the official news on who he's going to play, and it's like, I just want to know so I can know what to expect and what to get over. Right. If he's going to be the vigilante, I want to just hurry up and get over it so I can be excited about it. You know, I want to get angry, get over it, and then get excited. But if you make me wait till I see a trailer, I have no choice but to get over it, and then that just puts me in like a whole clusterfuck of emotions. I don't want that. I want to have already been over it by the time I see it. So I mean that, and they've been speculating, Joel, for the longest, Black Adam could be giving us a JSA. So it's like, I want to know if that's the case.
I already told you what version of JSA I expect.
You definitely did. But no, I want to know if any of that's true. So, because to me, when you have the knowledge, and Tia, this is what I always tell people. This is what I told my sister, actually, and my little brother who want to get into comics. If you're a fan of the movies, when they announce stuff, that's why it's good when they announce it ahead of time. You now can know what exactly to go read. So you have the knowledge. But it's when they like to hold shit close to the vest that you're now watching it and you're like, I can't even get as excited as I want to because I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. That's why when Guardians came out, it had to be a good movie because it didn't have many comics for you to go back to really read and go, I know who they are. So it's like if that movie failed, that would have been the death of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it would have taken a really good comic run to revive them. So I'm like, let us know who some of these characters are for the Suicide Squad so we can look it up and really get excited. Especially because James Gunn's been hyping John Cena. I don't know who the hell John Cena's playing. I don't even know
Invisible Man.
John Cena. I was
Took me a second there, Joel.
No, so I would like to know who some of these people are playing. But you guys know why I'm here. What did Marshawn Lynch say? You know why I'm here, boss. I'm here for the Batman. Give me as much as you can. Just sprinkle me in Batman news. Photos, stories, concepts, whatever you got, shower me in it. Shit. I mean, honestly, I'd love Matt Reeves to pull a Zack Snyder. Even though it's virtual, pull up in that shit in the Batmobile. Pull up to it in the Batmobile, man. Go all out. But no, I really do expect to hear some Aquaman. I expect our second trailer of Wonder Woman to come out during FanDome. And the biggest thing is I need Andy Muschietti to show up and show out. You got a lot of explaining to do, my man. Like a lot. Is Ezra our Flash? That's what you start with, and then you start debunking all this rumor shit we've been getting since you attached your name. So I'm looking at Andy and Matt Reeves to shine bright at DC FanDome. But Joel, what are you looking forward to the most from DC FanDome?
I don't know what I'm not looking forward to be honest. I'm trying to think about it, and I can't peg it because I love so much of it. Like, there's the CW shows, they're gonna be there. DC Universe, HBO Max hopefully has some presence there with their shows.
Green Lantern show would be nice.
Yeah, Justice League Dark, whatever, if they have any information on that. They have the movies, obviously, every movie coming out, I want to know every little thing I can get. I don't expect much, but, you know, the Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Black Adam, I want all of it. Give me all of it. If you give me all of it, I'll take all of it. When it comes to even comic books, I'm down for anything. Cartoons, I want to know more about the next season of Young Justice. There's just too much. There's too much there that I'm gonna be busy that Saturday. Hopefully they have it all scheduled out with the right stuff, with what the time is. What I'm very curious how they're gonna play it out. Like, one of the panels, how they're gonna show it. Do we have to get like a separate app, or is it gonna be on YouTube? Like, there's a couple questions I have.
I mean, I'll say this, okay? My birthday is August 24th, all right? That's not a shameless
Mine's the 13th.
plug. That's not a shameless plug. I say that to say that, well, you're lucky. It'll come before FanDome. The reason why I'm bringing up my birthday is, I don't know if any of you, and to our watchers and our listeners, I don't know if any of you have been following me and Joel cover San Diego Comic-Con the past few years. It's tiring. It sucks the soul out of our bodies, okay? Us doing the live stream of it last year, I think me and Joel were in like a coma for 2 days after that. So what I'm saying is, it will tire me out right before my birthday. I'll be in bed all day for my birthday because of how tiring it will be. And poor Kanan. Like, me and Joel to do a live video and capture all the Kanan's got to be live tweeting the shit. God bless those thumbs.
Yeah. That man is he's a problem. That guy is on top of everything.
Yeah, God bless him, and God bless whoever has to do that article to recap. Yeah, that falls on you. God bless those thumbs. Look at Tia. Tia's like, hell no.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you out with the outline right now. I'll give you every place you're gonna need to know.
But Tia, I'll go to you. What, if anything, are you looking forward to the most out of FanDome?
Very much looking forward to Andy Muschietti announcing we have a replacement for Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Lord.
No, in all seriousness, I'm excited for anything about the Suicide Squad because, as you know, I actually am a fan of the 2016 version of Suicide Squad, and considering how much I love James Gunn and what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy, I love the cast. So that, to me, is the most exciting part of it. I am interested in seeing what we can hopefully see of the Batman. And you're right, if we could see The Rock, just anything Black Adam related would be really cool, just because, correct me if I'm wrong, he was casted for that back in like 2014. So it's been 6 years. Let's get going now.
Quite honest with you, everyone always says it's been like 6 years. It's not. It's been like 10 years. Yeah. He was actually casted way before then, because you got to remember
when he had hair still.
Here's the funny thing, Tia. Here's the funny thing. Believe it or not, he was casted as Black Adam before Man of Steel came out.
Right.
No, he wasn't.
He was, Joel. He was legit casted before Man of Steel came out.
No, it truly was not.
Google it. I promise you he was.
I will Google it.
Google it. He was. He 100% was.
No, Manson was definitely not out. Because I remember there was all this stuff about him floating. Because I remember him weighing the option between Black Adam and Green Lantern. There was no way it was before Man of Steel.
It was before Man of Steel, man.
It was not.
If it wasn't before Man of Steel, it's at least been 10 years since he's first talked about it. Because it's been forever. Because we got an update like 5 years ago. Like, hey, guys, remember me? I'm still with Black Adam. It was like, all right, we'll make the shit then, Rock. Like, what are you guys doing? So to me, we deserve to see him in costume. That's it. I'm not asking for anything else. Just him in costume. Even if it's like the first official photo of it, like he doesn't actually get on screen in it. It's just our first look at what the costume is gonna look like. If I had to take a guess, what Boss Logic gave us is probably exactly what the suit's gonna look like.
Probably.
No different than that. So like there is nothing to be left to interpretation, but it's probably gonna be that exact suit. But we just go ahead.
2014 is when he announced it.
Oh, that's what you said, right, Tia?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But yeah, we deserve it. We deserve
September of 2014.
September of 2014.
It's still been such a long time, 6 years, to be, casted as a character and still not, have made his debut at all, even in a cameo.
That's because he decided to skip Shazam, or else he would have been in Shazam.
That was his decision, not anyone else's.
That was their decision because he produced it.
Time out.
So
if Joel's being completely honest with you, it was his decision the day that he decided he wanted Black Adam to be a solo. Once he decided on that, it was kind of like
once he decided I'm going to be Black Adam, that was destined to be separated.
There was no way you were going to get them, especially because you had to have a winner, you had to have a loser. You weren't going to get The Rock to be the loser in his first appearance as Black Adam. So the day he was casted, they were like, we can't do a movie of you guys together as the first movie. But we were sitting in Shazam watching it together like, I didn't need you to have a fight. Just pop your head in and go, hey, Black Adam here.
It's because The Rock didn't want a repeat of The Mummy 2. He wanted to come out as his solo first and then.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Hey, always got to fix your mistakes. You got to learn from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we definitely deserve that. There's a project. Joel, I want to hear more about Blue Beetle. That was rumored a while ago.
I would love to
hear more about Blue Beetle. Mainly because I feel like if they use Jaime, if they don't use Jaime, then it completely vetoes what I'm about to say. But
that's what they mentioned in the report.
If we get Jaime, it means less Cyborg, and I'm always for that. Put Cyborg in his place. Titan.
Well, Cyborg is also rumored to be in the fucking Flash. Remember?
Everyone's gonna be in this Flash movie. It's gonna be Juwaan's favorite thing. And remember how Captain America: Civil War was basically an Avengers movie, even though it was called Captain America. It's gonna be the Flash, but it's just gonna be everyone else. It's gonna be another Justice League.
There's still nothing more annoying than hearing Feige talk about that movie and defend it by saying it's not an Avengers movie. I don't know why people say that. Feige, you had the Avengers in the movie. What are you talking about?
Well, that's going to be the Flash, though. That's going to be the Flash, though. Everyone's going to be in it.
Yeah, expect to see Wonder Woman versus Aquaman. The only thing we're not going to see is Thomas Wayne Batman.
The one thing we were looking forward to seeing is the one thing we definitely won't be getting. I'd even say, Joel, I think people should temper expectations. It's a good chance you won't even get Diana versus Arthur.
Yeah. I wouldn't
very
hold
good
your breath.
chance that's not the storyline that they go with.
No.
We should, just like I remember we had to tell people when we did our podcast for Geek Vibes Live when Civil War got announced, don't expect any of what you saw in the comics. Like, not even 10% of what you saw in the comics.
I had to explain that to my cousin. I'm like, it said Civil War, but it's not the Civil War,
It's not what you're expecting.
I'm like, you can't have Civil War with none of them having secret identities. The whole point of it was secret identities.
Exactly.
But it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no. If anything, it was reassuring people like, hey, you remember I'm Iron Man, right? It's like, yeah, no, we know.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows who everybody is.
Yeah, we know who you
No
are.
secrets here.
That's why when Ant-Man came out, it was like the one guy no one knew who he was.
You exposed them.
Gone, completely gone. That's why I enjoyed the little bit of at the end of the first Spider-Man movie where it's like, no, introduce yourself to the world, let everyone know who you were. He's like, I don't want that shit, Mr. Stark. I don't want that at all. I was like, I'm proud of you, kid. I'm proud.
Yeah, and at the end of the second Spider-Man, it's like, not only do you know who Spider-Man is, but now you think he's like a murderer.
Right. I'm like,
perfect.
I fought so hard to protect this kid, only for them to be like, no. They know who he is now. It's like, God damn it.
That's it.
And he's still just a kid, now that I think about it. Isn't he still just like 16? This poor child.
Yeah, he's like 16, yeah.
Yeah, in the comics, he was in his 20s when they found out.
Yeah, in the comics, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the movie, he was like 16.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to. I want to talk a little bit about. I want to get into gaming a little bit before we get to your trailers, Tia. Before we wrap this up, I don't think we have a lot more news left. I want to talk. We got the release of. Well, not the release, but Marvel did a little bit of a event reveal for an extended look at their new Marvel game, the new Avengers game. Man, was that a sight to see. That game looks beautiful. But the one thing I wanted to highlight was, Joel, you remember the story that they were showing of how AIM essentially set up the Avengers for what they're calling A-Day. I think they're calling it. It got me thinking. It would have been so dope if after the events of Civil War, you introduced the Skrulls, and the Skrulls cause a major incident, but as the Avengers. And now the battle is not only to stop the Skrulls, but to rebuild the image of how the people see the Avengers. It just would have hit so many movies after so hard because you're now battling on two fronts. People don't want you, but they need you. And that's the constant struggle of a hero. You might not always like me, but I'm doing what needs to be done. That's why I like Frank Castle is hilarious. It's like, hey, you never knew you needed me to put a bullet in someone's head. They're about to rob you. And it was like, that's a little excessive, Frank. He was just stealing my purse, and you shot him in the throat. Like, I don't think he needed that.
Yes, we did.
I needed to shoot him in his throat. He would have stole someone else's purse. Yeah.
Damn right.
Okay.
And then who knows what it could have led to? It could have escalated to, assaults and everything. Frank did us a favor.
Right, yeah. So that got my brain kind of just like spinning because I'm like, that would have been so dope of the Avengers having to battle on two fronts. One of their image and two of their duty. And I'm like, now you can't do it because all the good Avengers are dead. So I'm like, doesn't matter now.
It's another thing. Scrolls like to convolute things too. Fucking scrolls.
That is true. That's why Joel's not looking forward to the day that DC time travels, and then the day that Marvel does shape-shifting.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward. They're already talking multiverse with Doctor Strange. I'm just holding my breath. I'm like, oh god.
Luckily, it feels like their multiverse can only be like one or two things. Not like DC to where it's like it legit could be a million different Earths that you could tap into. Marvel kind of seems like they're gonna focus on maybe one or two. So it's like that I could handle.
We'll see. We'll see.
But Joel,
I trust Marvel.
What were your thoughts? By the way, MODOK looked terrifying. They didn't make his face look like animated at all. It looked like an old grown man's face, but stretched out in purple. But Joel, what were your thoughts on the trailer for the Avengers game?
I loved it. It was pretty cool. I really can't wait to play it, honestly. To get my hands on playing with all the Avengers. And all the customizability and all the different looks. And it's just, I'm really excited to get my hands on it and see how it plays out. What are the heroes that end up showing up later on? How much more of the story there is. And like, what do they tease for the future? And the fact that you can buy this game and it will transfer over to like the PS5 or the Xbox, whatever, for free. So I'm like, that's cool too. That's doing us a favor for people that plan on going to the next system. But yeah, it looks really good. I really liked what I saw, and can't wait to play it. I think it comes out in September, I think it is. So
Yeah,
I'm
September
excited.
4th, I think. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. The one thing I took from this reveal was the costumes are going to be like a wet dream. The idea
awesome.
that you could switch through so many classic looks of all the different characters. They even had Thor Ragnarok Hulk, like the Hulk armor look in there. So I'm like, this is gonna be super dope. But the biggest thing for me, Joel, was actually Kamala. And the reason why that was a big thing for me is
POV.
Marvel has the opportunity to make her as big as Spider-Man. And it starts now. It starts with this game. And I think they know that. I think that's why she is the centerpiece of this game. Same way Spider-Man came into the MCU and became the centerpiece. It's very important that you do this character not only justice, but you make this character as big as you possibly can. Because she is so important for so many reasons. I mean, being diverse, her power set. We'll get to see something that could stretch before we see the original Mr. Stretch and Mr. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So
she's actually.
Go ahead.
No, her powers are very similar to what Elastigirl powers actually are, but you never really, because she can't control herself obviously in the show. But that's kind of what it looks like. You see Ms. Marvel doing her thing. Yep. Kind of what Elastigirl can do from the Doom Patrol.
Whenever Doom Patrol wants to stop making them sad and kind of sucky and really power them up, she's going to be super dope to watch.
I have to say really quick before we go any further about Doom Patrol, I had the honor of watching the first 3 episodes, and it doesn't get any less sad. It gets sadder. Prepare for more sadness.
Yeah, I was right behind you, Tia, watching them, and I'm like, I thought it was like better for them. I'm like, why does thing still suck so much? Like, I was watching it thinking I was watching a teenage drama movie, and I'm like, you should not still be this sad as adults.
I just finished season 1 again, like today. Like I caught up. I binged it off for tomorrow, so I can start watching season 2. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I don't mean to take away from the current subject at hand, but no, I'm super excited for the rest of Doom Patrol. I just thought it was funny what you said, that Miss Marvel has the abilities that what we should be seeing Elastigirl at least get to. So, because I don't know much about Kamala Khan, so I think that's really cool.
Now you know.
But see, but see, I like when people like you say stuff like that, because that's what I love about Feige. He's doing something that usually wouldn't work, which is taking characters that maybe 2% of the world know about and expanding them to where they're now becoming worldwide and a household name. Me and Joel said a few weeks ago, it drives us crazy to know that this new generation thinks the Holy Trinity is Cap, Thor, and Iron Man. It's like, no, child. We know that it doesn't seem like it, but that will always be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That will never change, okay? I get how you feel, but no.
That's why it's important to execute the movies well.
Exactly, because when you don't, you have a full generation that puts Iron Man at a way higher level than they do Batman. And we can never let that be a future.
I will not live in that future.
I will not live in a future where I talk to a kid about Batman and he's like, who? I'm like, oh, he's a really rich guy that suits up. Oh, you mean Iron Man? I will kill you. No, that's not what I mean. But that's importance of characters like Kamala Khan that you will be seeing on the big screen and small screen really soon. But
she's gonna have her own show.
She's gonna have her own show, and she's gonna possibly cross over. Joel, correct me if I'm wrong, into Captain Marvel too. I believe.
Maybe we don't know for sure, but she's a Captain Marvel fangirl, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Right, that's her thing, Tia. She's a huge fan, as you could tell by her superhero
Her
name.
name, yeah.
Fan.
I kind of guessed there.
She's
But
a
no,
big fan girl.
I love the look of this game. And again, Joel, I'm watching. You remember when they were showing Thor fight on the ship? He was tag teaming with Thor and Iron Man on the ship. That is the look of Thor I had always wanted Chris Hemsworth to have. Because it reminded me of the Ultimate Thor that was like the environmentalist that always had like that surfer dude kind of look to where he was in like a shirt and jeans rather than what we've always seen Thor in the MCU.
He just looked like he was he looked like what he was doing was like I guess volunteering somewhere.
Right.
And so he came back from volunteering. He had a fake name, Donald Blake. Which is funny because that's kind of a nod to the Thor movie where he walked around with the Donald Blake tag and shit in his clothes. So that's pretty cool too.
But that's what I always wanted Chris Hemsworth Thor to look like, because I'm like, Chris Hemsworth fits that more than he did the Thor they were trying to shoehorn him to be. That's why when Taika opened him up, it was the best Thor we had ever seen, because that is who Chris Hemsworth is. He is the hippie version of Thor. He just naturally seems like a hippie. So it's like, cater to that. Allow him to be that. But yeah, when I saw that, Joe, I immediately was like, damn, that's the Thor I had always wanted to see on the big screen. That Taika, to a degree, was able to kind of give us. But yeah, no, this game looks great. The gameplay looks amazing. The fact that you could play it with friends, you could go through the story mode with friends.
Or alone. It talks to me.
Like I know for a fact when it comes out, I'm gonna want to play it with Joel, and he's gonna be like, I need some time alone. Like, I need some time to play this alone. Not right now, Juwaan. And now I'm gonna cry. But Dom, Tia, did you guys get a chance to check it out on? Because I know Cannon posted it on Twitter. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at it?
Yeah, I was literally just watching some of the gameplay. It looks really good. I mean, I've been waiting for something like this, like especially after with Marvel Alliance. I wanted, something around this realm, because you do want to be those characters that you've seen go through all these missions, and they're able to go into more storylines that maybe the movie can't cover, maybe a show can't cover, and you're going to see some characters possibly that, may be in the MCU in the future, or maybe they just like, we want to show you these characters. They couldn't make it into the MCU, but we know that they're in this timeline at some point. And yeah, it is good to see, it looked like from what I was watching, you have, Kamala as a main character, but then I see a lot of Black Widow too. And we know like the Black Widow movie coming, and maybe they're gonna make her more of a lasting character than just like what we saw with, of course, the multiverse coming up. So maybe she's gonna reprise her role and be like, hey, I'm here to stay at least for another movie or two. But yeah, it looks really good. Like, it looks really good.
And the biggest thing I love about it is a lot of games take from the movies. I love how drastically different they look than their movie counterparts. I love how drastically different they sound. And I know that sounds crazy, but if anyone watches the cartoons that Marvel has been having, they look just like the movies. They sound just like the movies. Like, they try their best to look and sound exactly like what we've already seen. This is drastically different. And I like that because it gives you a chance to create new stories. Or if you want to use a villain like Thanos down the line, it's so drastically different, no one would really accuse you of doing what I just saw. Because obviously there's so many dynamics of it that are different. I mean, and I love how vulnerable Bruce is in this. I love how Bruce is like, yeah, we fucked up. We should be held accountable. And it's like, really? From the guy that in the comics destroyed half of New York City and we had to send you to space because you were too dangerous to stay here on Earth. You're the guy that's like, no, we shit the bed. No, we definitely shit the bed. It's just, that was hilarious to see. But Tia, you said you didn't get a chance to look at it yet?
No, I didn't get a chance to look at it really yet, but I've been looking on Twitter while you guys were talking, and I'm glad that Joel pointed out the whole Donald Blake thing, because I'm seeing someone, pointed out that literally he has a name tag on going, "Hello, D. Blake." So that's pretty cool for comic book fans. And I'm super happy, by the way, to hear you guys speak so positively about it, because all my timeline had been filled with in the past few days leading up to this is such negativity about the game and how people absolutely dislike how each and every one of the characters look and how different they look from their movie counterparts. And to the point where they're saying that the graphics looked as if it was back from like PlayStation 1 days. And I'm like, clearly you guys didn't play Tekken and all the other shit that I did because you wouldn't be saying that. I think the graphics are still good. It's like, they're like, is it not enough that the comics make the freaking characters look like the movie counterparts? Is it not enough, as you guys said, the cartoons to be emulating the movie MCU? Like, let the video game be different. It looks great. And also, maybe because I'm just not that big of a gamer, but as long as the gameplay is good, and as long as you have fun and, like, shit isn't glitching up a storm, like, who cares that Black Widow doesn't look like Scarlett Johansson?
I mean, look.
No, 100%.
As much as I just praise that game, and all of that is true, that's honestly how I feel. I will not lie. When I first saw how some of these guys look, I was like, what the fuck? What are you doing? What? Why is that the look you went for? Some of them weren't shaving. One of them looked like the guy that paints all the time that Deadpool was making fun of. I'm like, these characters just look crazy.
Bob Ross?
Stark looked just like Bob Ross. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
They fixed the faces, though.
They did. But, I mean, again, if I'm being completely honest with you, two things are to be true. One, you don't pay a lot of attention to the facial structure when you're playing the games, because usually they're facing this way. So you're seeing like the side of their face. It's only when they show you
in the back.
Right. It's only when they show you the cinematic that they obviously improve on what their face looks like, because you're now seeing it. So I mean, Thea, as well as we all do, people gonna find something to complain about.
Of course. It's Twitter. People love to do that.
I mean, I once saw somebody complain about gameplay before the game even came out. Like, I didn't even play it. I don't think the gameplay is going to be good. What? How do you even say that? Like, that's like me going, man, I don't think that movie's going to end well. It didn't even come out yet. Yeah, but from the trailer, I don't think
But look at it.
Like, what?
I've seen so many of those different things. Like, this is going to be trash. You just know it's going to be trash. And it's like, it didn't even come out yet. It could be awesome. Yeah. It's like, no, it's going to be
I legit was hanging out with my cousin the other day. An album started. Like, it just started with the instruments. This album's going to be trash. What? What are you basing that off of? I didn't like the strings at the beginning of this song. What? You listen to the rest of the song. No, I'm good. I'm like, all right, what? I can't take these new generation kids. They're horrible. But what were you gonna say, Dom?
No, I was gonna say that I think we're forgetting too that, or a lot of people are forgetting when they're looking at the game. Once you get it home and you play it in 4K, it's gonna look completely different. You know what I mean? It's gonna take it up 10 notches. You can be like, oh shit, I was wrong.
This is dirty.
Problem is, all those haters never come back to say that they were wrong.
That's true.
Only
That's very
come back
true.
to say they were right.
They double down.
Yeah, they
double
down.
My thing is, like, where I honestly think it's coming from is, all of us are, like, I'm 30, but you guys are in your 20s, right? But
I'm 30.
Okay.
I'm 34.
I'm so used to everyone at GVN being like 19 at this point, so my bad. But we come from the age where, like, again, we were playing video games back at like PS1, PS2, where like the graphics, back then we were like, graphics are awesome, but it was about the gameplay. But kids these days, which again sounds like such an old person to say, but they're so used to these amazing graphics while playing that they're like, oh well, if it doesn't look like the most realistic, piece of artistry that I've ever seen, it's trash.
Well, I just had to tell my little brother, he was playing Call of Duty. He was like, I don't like how these newer graphics look. And I'm like, all right, well, tell you what. When I played GoldenEye, which was our Call of Duty, it looked like how your Roblox looks like. That's what the picture playing all your games that look like that shit, okay? And then come back to me. All right, we didn't have 4K. All right?
But it's also hilarious. I'm sorry, really quick, one last point to this. I think it's so hilarious that people complain about this shit when meanwhile Minecraft is one of the most popular games for people to play, and it's literally some blocks.
It is. It's the ugliest game I've ever seen, and yet people love that shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, who plays this shit? I'm like, I was
watching them play Roblox. I'm like, what's the point of this? It's like you build stuff and stuff. I'm like, so like Legos, but in the video game. Yeah. I'm like, all right, okay, that's stupid.
Never bitch about graphics ever again.
Yeah, don't come to me about graphics when your favorite game is Roblox. All right, we're gonna get into our last topic, which is the trailers from Tia. I'll let her take charge. But before you get into that, Tia, I've been wanting to say this for a while, and I was gonna save this for AJ, but I think you guys will appreciate this. Everyone here has seen Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not current, I have to say. I'm sorry. I watched in the old run of DBZ. I haven't caught any of the new stuff.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to talk about. So you saw fighting Frieza and Cell.
Hell yeah. Really quick, before you go any further, I used to watch back in Tsunami when they get right up to the point where Goku's about to defeat Frieza, and they're like, and here's the first episode where Raditz comes in. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, not again.
By the way, can I say this? As much as me and Joel and a lot of people hate the CW having 22 episodes and like at least 15 of them are fillers, everyone forgets Dragon Ball Z was the original filler. It would end where Goku and Frieza are powered up right in front of each other, and you're like, yo, next week is going down. Next week, they're showing you Bulma. And I'm like,
was that like the Ginyu Force or something? There was like a frog and shit.
I'm like, wait a minute, Akira, who gives a shit about Bulma right now? I want to see the fight. And then you get back to the fight, the whole episode is just talking. Like, what is going on?
I'm gonna beat your ass. No, I'm gonna beat your ass.
I'm
Wait
like,
till I power
what
up.
the hell? I'm like, are you serious?
Let me give you a background episode about how Frieza came and killed all of the people.
Like, I don't give a shit. I want to see one of them die right now. But no, so what I wanted to talk to you guys was, this has been a rumor about the show that I think Akira came out and obviously denied. But this has been a rumor about the show since it began. I am now 100% convinced Gohan is Yamcha's son. Let me tell you why.
Because he's useless.
When Gohan was small, the hairstyle that he had was the exact hairstyle Yamcha.
But he had a tail. He had a tail, though. Yamcha's not a Saiyan.
Hold on.
Here's where
I'm like, some weird-ass crossbreeding was happening or some shit. The hairstyle Gohan had was the same hairstyle Yamcha had. Then when you fast-forwarded to when Gohan cut his hair, same style that Yamcha had. And their face looks the same. Then, this is when I knew something was fishy. When Goten was born, he looks just like Goku. Like, you can't even argue that Goten is Goku's son. The hair, the face, everything is the same. Gohan doesn't even look like Chi-Chi. He straight up just looks like Yamcha. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know the tail point, and someone said that to me, T, and I'm like, yeah.
And he goes Super Saiyan too.
I'm like, yeah, forget all that. That little monkey is 100% Yamcha's son. That is 100%
I think
Yamcha's
it's
son.
more likely that fucking Chi-Chi hate fucked Goku for the life. Because she doesn't want Gohan to be anything like the man she chose to be her life partner.
I'm sorry, but then she's like all for Goten training. That frustrated me like nobody's.
Yeah, time out. Let me tell you. No, go ahead.
For anyone who doesn't know, though, in the original run of Dragon Ball Z, Gohan was supposed to take the torch from Goku. That's why Goku died, and then Gohan defeated Cell. But because the people at the time who were watching it were so distraught about the idea of Goku leaving, that's when suddenly they were like, all right, Gohan's now going to be a wuss, and we're going to bring Goku back.
I'm going to say this. I think the real reason why Chi-Chi allowed Goten to train was she saw how soft Gohan was. No,
that's her fault, though.
When Goku came back to Earth and he saw Gohan in that Great Saiyaman costume, he was just like, I failed you. I really fucking failed you. Like, Piccolo was looking at Gohan like, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get how you killed Cell. I really don't. Like, what is this shit?
How do you have Piccolo as a mentor and that's what happens to you?
Like, Piccolo was like, no. This is not the same kid that I left in the woods for like 3 weeks so you can get strong. This is not the same kid. What is
Gohan went complete opposite because didn't he have like anger issues when he was a kid and that was like the whole thing? They had to prevent him from like turning into...
No, Gohan was I'll say this. Gohan turning into a bookworm / Great Saiyaman is the most predictable thing I've ever seen in my life. He was the biggest crybaby as a kid. He used to always say, I don't want to fight, Dad. It's scary. And it's like, all right, I get it. But, like, what if he starts to whoop your ass? What are you going to do?
That's his mom's fault.
Cry.
Which sucked, though, because Chi-Chi also, though, in Dragon Ball was a fighter herself and the daughter of a great fighter. And I could probably make some remarks in the sense that was very, misogynistic and sexist, but I won't go there, that they decided that, like, every woman in the show had to be the nagging woman, but just saying. The only non-nagging person was literally an android, but I digress with that. But to your point, Juwaan, I don't think that Gohan is Yamcha's kid. I think that Yamcha stopped producing anything when he found out that, or didn't produce anything at all once he found out that Vegeta had impregnated Bulma. Killed him.
Very upset. He was very upset, and I love how
no way he was ever getting her back.
Cool, calm, and collected Vegeta was.
It's like,
am I the dad? And Bulma's like,
wait, and then they also announced that I think while Bulma was still with Yamcha, like Trunks came and he was like, "My parents are Vegeta and Bulma," and Yamcha's like, "What?"
He was like, "What the fuck? You cheating what? What is he talking about, Bulma?" And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And like, you just see Vegeta over there angrily smirking.
You are not the father.
Yeah.
Vegeta does not
that was
smile.
the funniest Maury episode in the history of Maury. But no, I only bring this up because I'm playing the Kakarot game, the Dragon Ball Z game that came out beginning of this year. And, like, I keep looking at Gohan, and I'm like, not only is he a disappointment, but, like, damn, he looked just like Yamcha.
No, I love it because Dragon Ball Z honestly was, like, I just sent you guys a photo. I have, like, the whole entire collection. That was such, like, a part of my, like, teenage years and shit. I love Dragon Ball Z, so I could talk about that shit always, but that's so funny. I've never heard anyone, like, bring that up at all, but it would be hilarious because then Yamcha could have his version of being all smug and shit, like Vegeta was all smug and shit to him.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Gohan is so soft. Goku wouldn't even be upset if that wasn't his son. He would be like, I have Goten.
Goku wouldn't even know the difference.
He would.
The thing is, so, like, if you watch Dragon Ball, the show before Dragon Ball Z, it's like, before the whole Saiyan stuff, Yamcha, it was a good show, right? Like, Tien and Yamcha, they were, like, the strongest ones, and then as soon as, like, Dragon Ball Z came about, were like, no, if you're not a Saiyan or an android, you're nothing. Like, I think Tien and Yamcha had to retire.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Krillin's the strongest human.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. When they did Dragon Ball Z and they introduced the Saiyan saga, Akira definitely was like, all right, there's a lot of characters here. There shouldn't be this many. So then he found every opportunity to kill Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha. Every series they died. It was so funny because it was to the point to where when every big bad came, you would think they would go, I died the last 4 times. Maybe I should sit this one out and kind of just let, like, the really strong guys go.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm gonna show up, and who's the first ones to die? Yamcha, Tien, Krillin, and I'm like, even
Chelsea.
Krillin, even
What the
Krillin
fuck is
with the,
Chelsea?
even
they gonna blow
Krillin with
us
the,
up, right?
even
What
Krillin
though?
with the Battle of the Gods, Krillin was just like, nah, I ain't got it. I don't have it, guys. I got a wife.
Krillin retires more
Krillin
than
does.
the others.
Once he
But
married
he
the
comes back.
android that weirdly shouldn't have been able to have kids, and
But
the fact that
she
his
does, yeah.
child, the fact
Because
that
they were more of cyborgs than they were androids. If you go back and watch the series, they explain that they were humans first, then transformed, so they were cyborgs. Android 16 was the actual android, but they were cyborgs. They just didn't want to call them that.
Look at that.
I get your point. Still shouldn't have had a fucking baby.
You think that'd be like the first thing, like that the weird evil scientist would get rid of, like that ability.
Like, don't have kids. No, we're taking that out.
No, he was gonna keep it because he definitely was planning on hitting that at some
point. That is true. And Thea, to your sexist point,
bastard.
Now that I think about the history of Dragon Ball Z, there's only been like 3 women in the whole history of Dragon Ball Z.
Think about it. Okay, think about it, right?
None.
You have Chi-Chi, who used to be a former fighter herself. Now she's just the nagging mother. Bulma, who, yeah, she's smart, but nagging and also kind of like, sleeps around. You have Marin, who was crazy. You have another Marin who was crazy. You have this one who every woman that Krillin ever dated was crazy. You have Android 18.
Except for 18.
Yeah, 18 is, strong and shit, but even she kind of takes the sideline when she becomes a mom, in GT and shit. And then it's like you have Videl, who she fights a little, but then once she gets with Gohan, she becomes pretty much like a side character. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to sit there and point fingers or anything, but if you really look at it, what female in the Dragon Ball Z series was actually decent? They didn't even want to make them a Super Saiyan because apparently the artist couldn't figure out how to make their hair, but meanwhile Trunks has long-ass hair and was doing just fine.
Here's the thing, and until I'm proven otherwise, even though they called him a boy or a man rather, Frieza was a woman. Frieza 100% was a woman. Frieza was a woman. I will say that till the day I die.
Those are some touchy waters that you're getting into.
Frieza was non-binary, let's be real.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But you will not tell me that was definitively a man. That is not what you will tell me.
I used to think Frieza was a girl too.
See?
His voice was kind of different than the others.
It was. What it reminded me of?
Southern Smoker's voice.
You know what Frieza reminded me of? Frieza, and this is probably gonna get me completely canceled, but Frieza 100% reminded me of like a I know this is gonna get me canceled. Of like a butch lesbian. Like I could picture Frieza if Frieza was like human in like jeans and like some Adidas where the jeans are rolled up a little bit at the bottom, and she's like overly aggressive. I'm like, that's always what I thought of Frieza.
Juwaan, I'll say one last thing is it could have also though been the American dub, because if anyone out there watched Sailor Moon, there were these 3 characters where they were all supposed to be boys, but one of them was extremely effeminate in the Japanese version, and in the Japanese version he was a boy and all that, but because his character looked like a woman with the long hair, with the feminine swagger, with that, they decided then to, in English version, make the character a she and say that it was a female. So it could have just been the dub, but I don't know what went on there.
Could they change his voice later on? Because Frieza sounds different in Super, which is just basically Dragon Ball Super pretends GT never happened.
Which because GT was crap.
So that's true. So Super, it basically takes over for that. And Frieza, the voice of Frieza is a different voice actor, but sounds similar, but maybe a little more masculine, but not super masculine. Still, there's a little feminine in it.
And time out. Not even the way Frieza talked is why I thought Frieza was a woman and not a man. Whenever she whatever you want to call Frieza.
Oh, you're getting canceled for this, Juwaan.
But wait, whenever Frieza
canceled.
time out and go look at this. Whenever Frieza would cross his legs when it landed, and I'm like, that's a woman. That is a woman. That is a woman. You're trying to cover something up. That is just playing regular. What is always crossing his legs? I'm like, no, nope. That is the Prince of Dragon Ball Z. That's what Frieza.
That's perfect.
That's
Well, you
exactly
can you could technically say that Piccolo and his people, which now it escapes me what his people's names were.
Namekians.
The Namekians, they were, I think, asexual? Because didn't they give birth to eggs or something like that?
They lay eggs through their mouth.
Yeah.
That's right. That's so terrible.
Yeah, Piccolo never really showed an interest in anything that wasn't Gohan. So that's what always made me weird about Piccolo. I'm like, you watch Piccolo,
Come on, Juwaan.
Gohan. Think about it though. It was like Gohan, he
was a father figure. Goku was his enemy back in Dragon Ball, and now it's poetic that now he's raising him. And Goku's such an absentee father.
He's so focused on everything but his face.
I always wondered.
When did he have time to be with Chi-Chi?
I always wondered wait, that's what I always thought when
when did that happen?
When it went from the Cell Saga to the Buu Saga, and then Goten was there, I'm like.
And they were like, oh no, during one of those filler episodes, they totally boned.
Goku's been dead for the past 30 episodes. When did he do this?
He's Jesus, man.
Apparently he is. But I did always think to myself, when Gohan had to do Father Day, Piccolo, did he bring Piccolo? And everyone's looking at him like, that's not your dad, man. No, that's my dad. That's not your dad.
There was dogs walking around like people. It was believable.
That is true.
Just the fact. Wait, what's hilarious is just the fact that how Gohan had to describe his dad every time someone asks. It's like, oh no,
what
he
did
died.
Your father do?
It's like, oh no, he died. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's like, no, don't worry, he'll be back in a few weeks. Wait, what? Yeah, no, he'll be back soon. And then next summer, hey Gohan, where's your dad? I never see him. He died again. Is he coming back? Yeah, no, he'll be back.
I feel like at that point. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's going to come to a point where people are just not going to believe him. They'll be like, yeah, sure, he died. It's like, no, he just really went out for a pack of smokes one day and never came back.
No one would believe Gohan when he's like, hey, you guys remember how that alien was trying to kill everybody? Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, no, I saved the day. You?
No. He let them not believe it because Hercule Mr. Satan took all the credit. And then he goes on to fuck his dog.
Oh, that's right.
Wait, Gohan, Joel, time out. That's not talked about enough. Gohan was sticking it to Hercule.
Sleeping
with
you can take the credit. I'm taking your daughter.
How in a world that even Yamcha and Tien, they exist, but Hercule somehow is considered the strongest person ever. Master Roshi could freaking beat him.
Yes, he could.
I would say
Master Roshi could beat Yamcha, to be fair.
The closest thing I would compare Hercule to is he is Dragon Ball Z's Steven Seagal. That's who he is for Dragon Ball. Where it's you think he could fight, but you're pretty sure anybody could kick his ass. That's what Hercule is. So
he got a mean bodyguard with Boo.
For sure. But yeah, all right. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, now I have one question for you guys now that we're on the subject, right? This is my personal opinion. You guys can disagree all you want, but, Vegeta came into the series and he was the enemy, and then they made such an effort to get Goku and Vegeta to be friends, and Vegeta had this redemption arc and all that. To me, it always didn't make sense of why that wasn't given to Raditz, who is literally Goku's brother when they then made all these side movies to then redeem and show Goku's real father in a positive light. Why they never decided, like, why not just do Vegeta's role and have put that with Raditz, who literally was his blood brother? That just never made sense to me.
He didn't survive long enough.
That, he died rather quickly.
Very
And also, no one really cared about Raditz. Like, even when
I
he
did.
died, he was just like,
I
No one
did.
cared about Raditz.
I liked Raditz. Going
Hair
back.
down to his calves, the longest hair.
I'm gonna be completely
Which
honest.
they did back in the day, which is what they did essentially with Super Saiyan 3. Then all of a sudden they made them all look like Raditz.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
imagine
100%
Raditz
honest
at
with
Super Saiyan 3.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I cared more about Nappa than I did.
Oh, God.
Super
I
Saiyan
remember
Nappa.
I remember when
Fucking
Nappa
eyebrows,
died. I was
probably.
just like, I'm heartbroken.
That's hilarious.
Like, he was such a cool character,
Super Saiyan
and Vegeta
eyebrows.
treated him like such a piece of crap. And I'm like, I hate you, Vegeta. But I will say, last thing, Joel. Remember how we hate how the Flash makes friends with all of his villains, and it like takes away from having villains? I just realized playing this game, Goku is the original Flash. Goku took all his villains and made them friends. He even at the end made a friend with Frieza. I'm like, what the?
Well, no. He didn't make a friend. He made they shook on it. Frieza's nobody's friend. You'll always turn on him. But yes, he even trusted Frieza at the end to help him during the tournament. Goku loves everyone. Goku loves everybody.
Goku does not keep enemies. Goku's like, no, you're a friend forever.
He's a nice person. He's too nice.
It's like, I tried to kill you like just yesterday, though. No, it's
But, but that's also the problem with Goku. He's the nicest person in the world, but what he does for fun is fights. He wants to fight you. Like, I don't want to fight you.
Wait, time out, Joel. The funniest part is all his major fighting ends in death. So it's not even like, hey, I just want to fight till like one of us gets tired. Goku's like, no. Oh, you think I'm done? I will kill you. And it's like, whoa. Hold on. No one has to die, Goku. No. Someone has to die.
He just needs babysitters to, for his kids, man. If I beat you, you gotta watch Gohan forever.
Oh my God.
What an interesting show.
I legit can make jokes about anime all the time. I was just watching Naruto, and I'm like, it took me a while to realize, because I'm finishing up on the first season. It took me a long time to realize. Yeah, I told you I never finished it. So it took me a while to realize they're having children fight to the death. And, like, no one cares. Everyone's just, like, super excited. It's nothing but gangs fighting other gangs. But they're all children. And, like, the OGs of the gang, they're just standing back and they're like, I bet you my child will kill your child. Like, really? Like, yeah, she's going to kill your kid. And it's like, they literally stand there and watch them fight to the death. And then once they die, they go, hey, your kid took that shit too far, bro. He killed him. And it's like, you just sat there and watched it happen. I know, I couldn't stop that. But
yeah.
I'm like,
Naruto, especially where you're at, it's different. It's wartime still then. Because right now, where I'm at, which is like, he has a son and shit. So where I'm at, like, it's peacetime. And it's like, it's so different from when you see Naruto as a kid. Like, the environment and the fact that he has to deal with, like, real life shit all the time. And in Boruto's time, it's like, technology is better. Everyone's like, okay, like, there's a peace between all the nations. Very different than where Naruto's living right now.
Joel, where I'm at right now, a brother just stopped his sister's heart from beating. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? What is this? I'm like,
yeah, it's doggy dog, bro.
Right now. I just saw a grown man poison a child. I'm like, what is this? Why am I watching gangs take on gangs, but it's children? Weirdest thing, but I'm gonna get through it. But all right, Tia, end this show with the two trailers that you wanted to cover, so we can get out of here.
I feel like I can't even like follow up our conversation now. It's just like, what's the point? But I wanted to bring some light to the two trailers that we got, because I feel like now we're finally getting trailers again after like 4 months of us going, I don't think I'll ever know what a trailer feels like ever again. So one of them is Netflix is coming out with a new series called Cursed, which will premiere on July 17th, starring Catherine Langford. So I thought that that was interesting. She seems, now that 13 Reasons Why is done, she is now the head of a new series that kind of looks like a kind of a tie-in between Vikings and The Witcher. Considering how popular The Witcher is, I think that this may be like a young adult version. I thought the trailer looked really good. I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to have commentary, considering it. The whole tagline is, oh, you know, in the past, because it's a very Sir Arthur type of story, but it's like, oh, you know, in the past the sword chose a king. What if it chooses a queen? And it's like, okay, I'm sure there's going to be the people out there who are going to do it.
Woke.
Yes, whoa, the SJWs are taking over, you know, blah, blah.
I can only picture the spinoff. It's like, what if it chose a black queen? Oh, no!
I will say that I don't know exactly what ethnicity he is, but I saw that they released pictures of who Arthur is, and he may be black, maybe Spanish, but I can see someone going, oh my God, they made Arthur not white. What kind of reality is this?
It's called progression.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. So, but to me, the trailer looked really good just because The Witcher kind of opened up my eyes to like the whole medieval sword fighting type of world that in Game of Thrones. So it's like, that was cool. And also Juwaan Gustav Skarsgård is in it, so big reason.
You did tell me about that. You did tell me.
Yeah. Which one? Which one is that one? Forget.
He's the bald brother of the Skarsgård. So he played Floki in Viking. Yeah.
I know Floki, yeah.
So in Cursed, he's playing Merlin. So I don't know.
Way.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He's a good Joker.
That's what I said. I literally have an article that I wrote for GVN like 2 years ago. Like, certain people I'd love to see as the Joker, and he's literally in it because I was like, he'd be great. So I don't know if any of you guys saw the trailer for Cursed, if anyone had any other thoughts or anything.
I did. It looks great. I love seeing a woman toting the sword, mainly because I don't know about these young kids now that seem to be the most insecure with their manhood, but we grew up on Xena, and I've never been more attracted to a woman that can kill people for me. So I always have loved that. So I mean, I love it. I mean, every time I see a story about King Arthur, it makes me, and Joel can speak to this, it makes me wish King Arthur was just a little bit better, so we could have given equal to that.
I like that movie.
Such a unique take and such a good movie. But this looks great. I love the spin to it. She looks badass when they show her, when they say the line and then it kind of shows her wielding the sword. I'm like, yeah, she looks good. She looks really good. I will be giving this a chance, 100%. And I hope it's really good because we need more things like this. We need more things to where it's changing how we view things. And I know a lot of people feel like, well, if you're trying to do something like that, just create new characters. To me, I say no. And the reason why I say no about creating new characters instead of just changing their race or gender is because when you create a new character that is a female lead, it gives these idiot men a reason to not watch it. But when you race or gender bend, they'll watch it just to hate it. So it's like, well, at least you're watching it. I got your view or I got your ticket. But when you create new characters, I mean, we see it all the time. Joel, how many times do we say, there's new characters out there, you guys just refuse to look at them? That's why they recycle the same heroes, the same villains, is because you don't support the new stuff. So to me, I like it. It's bringing attention. So when you build up a fan base that likes to see women kick ass, you know what you could then do? Create new characters. But you can't. And
I'll also say really quick, I'm sorry for cutting you off, Juwaan. Catherine Langford's character is named Nimu, and she's a character in that lore. So they didn't just make her up for the show and just say, hey, let's throw in this. Like, she really is a character in the King Arthur folklore, pretty much. So she exists for all this. So yeah.
No,
okay.
That's a great point to bring up. But that trailer looked awesome. I can't wait for it. Like you said, it does kind of make me prefer that The Witcher was out right now.
No, of course.
But no, I have nothing negative to say about this. I cannot wait. And all you insecure men need to grow up, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, there is nothing doper than seeing your chick completely knock out a dude. And you can just sit there and go, wow, that was awesome. Like, we got to go right now, though. But that was awesome. So, yeah, no, I loved it. It was a great trailer. Dom,
did you see it, or Dom?
Yeah. I looked at while you were talking about it, and the cinematography itself looks better than The Witcher.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, and like Juwaan was saying, I grew up watching Xena, and nothing was better than seeing Lucy Lawless flip around and throwing I can't remember what the weapon was called.
Chakra.
Yeah, like, who doesn't want to see beautiful women kick ass? Like, that's a no-brainer. And especially, I've always loved that realm of, like, King Arthur and then Greek mythology and all that whole. I remember the '90s cartoon, King Arthur.
Remember that with King Arthur?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. He had the gold armor.
To be able to relive that through the eyes of another character, like, who wouldn't want to see it? Because we're going to see familiar stories just with somebody else leading it, which can make the outcome that much more better. So, yeah, I'm excited. It looks really good.
Yeah. No, you're completely right, because it will still have Arthur in it. It'll have Merlin, so it'll have a lot of. And I also wanted to say another. Yeah. So another actor who's going to be in it is Peter Mullen, and he's also a fantastic actor. So I just think that in general, it's a good cast. It's a really good cast, and I know you guys don't think that way, but it's like in my head, I watched the trailer, which sucks that you have to think that way. That you watch the trailer and you go, I know that what the number one complaint here is going to be. And then I know what the number two complaint is going to be. The lead is a woman and Arthur is played by a person of color. It's like, okay, it's tired. Like, let's stop now. But yeah, so.
But they just have someone new wielding Excalibur. Oh, well. I mean, Arthur had his time. Now he could be a side character. It's fine with me. We'll see what happens with King Arthur and maybe you said Nebu, her name is. And it's gonna see her journey to becoming maybe the queen of Camelot or whatever. Sure, something new. Fuck it, let's do it. Let's watch it. And especially if Arthur is not white, I would love to see the explanation for that. So I'm down for that too.
and please, because a lot of writers tend to do this with female leads in badass roles. Don't water it down with a relationship. Allow her to be badass.
Right.
Like, please, okay? Like, I even watched a female action movie where I'm like, why is romance important right now? Like, when you watch John Wick, his wife's dead. That's it. He doesn't take any romance after that. It's all about killing. That's all I want for female action movies. I don't need to see you bogged down or distracted with a romance.
Which is why, like, and I know Dom loves Age of Ultron, but that's why I hated the Black Widow storyline in Age of Ultron so much. Because in the first Avengers, they interviewed Scarlett Johansson. They asked her, oh, why is there no romance in this? And she's like, we're trying to save the world. There's no time. And it's like, yes, exactly. But then in Age of Ultron, Joss Whedon is like, I have a little bit of time.
I didn't like the relationship because I felt like it just came out of nowhere. Like, you did
it was random.
You did nothing to set it up in the first Avengers movie. So I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, it was weird.
Where did that come from? Like, even if you did want to give her someone to be romantic with, set it up. Like, what?
Steve Rogers.
They set that up a lot better than they did Banner. So I'm like, yeah, do that. But I'm like, the Hulk. What? That was just so random. I'm
Black Widow and Daredevil, like in the comics.
Dream come true. That was dream true. All right, Tia, did you say both the trailers? I feel like you said a horror movie was the first trailer.
No, so the second trailer is Apple TV Plus is coming out with Foundation, which is a TV adaptation of a novel series by Isaac Asimov. It's a sci-fi series that, oh God, what is his name? David Goyer is helming, and it stars Lee Pace and Jared Harris. What stuck out to me with this one, I just wanted to point it out, is because I was doing like reporting on this, and I had thought that they completely stopped production, right, when the whole COVID-19 thing happened. And they said they were in pre-production, and suddenly now we have a trailer, and the trailer looks freaking awesome. It looks beautiful. And according to, like, say, David Goyer, he was talking a little bit about the trailer before it came out, is that it was the book Foundation has not only been tried to be adapted for the past 50 years, but it was a huge inspiration to, say, Star Wars and the sci-fi genre in general. So that's just why I thought that it was interesting to point out. If you guys haven't watched the trailer, I would definitely suggest after this doing so. It's going to come out on Apple TV Plus in 2021. It just looks beautiful. Like to me, the trailer in general, the graphics, the costuming, it looks really beautiful. It spans 1,000 years, and it's pretty much about, someone predicting how human beings are pretty much going to ruin humanity. No one freaking listening, and then eventually them having to face that humanity-destroying event together. So to me, it just was something I wanted to mention because I was just shocked that it had even had enough time to come out with a trailer, considering I had thought that it had been completely shut down pre-production.
I will try to give it a chance. I am not that high on anything Apple TV outside of obviously defending Jacob. I think they have too many swing and miss shows on there, to the point to where I'm like, if they don't kick it up when my free trial is over, I am not keeping Apple TV.
I'll admit to you, Juwaan, I freaking stopped paying for it as soon as defending Jacob was over. But in 2021, when this comes out, I'll do it for the month or so that it comes out, and then I'll delete it again.
I tried The Servant that M. Night did, and I'm like, it reassured the reason why I don't want to have kids. So it just was not good. It just was not good.
Did you try For All Mankind?
Tia, I'm gonna say this.
I know you're not the biggest Joel Kinnaman fan.
Well, no, I was actually just watching. I just finished. What's the show I told you I was watching on Netflix? House of Cards. And Joel Kinnaman plays a huge role in one of the seasons before the end of the series.
Yeah.
He was running for president. I've learned I can only take but so much Joel Kinnaman at once. So now that I'm done with that, I need some time before Kinnaman.
But he is fantastic in Altered Carbon. I really like him.
He was.
For sure. But he's just, for some reason, he's on my list of actors that just I have to consume in doses. I just can't do marathons of that actor. He's one of them. I need breaks.
Well, I would suggest if you feel like checking it out, he may be in a lot of the trailers and obviously like one of the main characters, but it takes an interesting turn after like one or two episodes where the main characters become like people you weren't expecting, and his storyline kind of like it's kind of on the side at a lot of times. So I like it. I like spaceships. So
no, I'll definitely check it out. I'll definitely add it to my list. I have such a huge list of stuff that I have.
I know you do.
It is tiring.
I do too.
It is so tiring. Just waking up going, I can maybe start that today. And then it's snowballing into I've now donated hours to this one show. But yeah, I'll put it on my list. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
But no, make sure you guys check out Apple TV's new trailer for The Foundation, right, Tia? It's The Foundation. And Netflix's new trailer for the show Cursed.
Cursed.
Yep.
All right. Make sure you check out those 2 trailers. Thank you, Tia, for our edition of Trailer Talk. Haven't had it in a while. Good to be back.
Considering there was so few things to actually
Right. Outside of that, I think we covered everything. Joel, I think we covered everything, right? Everything that was really important.
Important stuff, yeah, pretty much.
That's all that matters. All right. Thank you guys for joining us for an all-new episode of Geek Vibes Live. Thank you, Tia. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Dom. Stay tuned. We have a bunch of interviews that we already have up. Dom did an interview Monday, I believe. Who'd you do the interview with, Dom?
Jared Cohn. He directed the new movie Street Survivors, the true story of the Leonard Skinner plane crash.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I remember that now. We were supposed to do it last week.
Yeah,
okay, got it. All right, so make sure you guys check that out. You also interviewed Wade Barrett.
Wow.
You guys check that out. That was a lot of fun, especially hearing him say maybe wrestling's not done with. I'm like, yeah, come back. But make sure you check those out. Tia, I thought you did an interview not too long ago.
Yes, I did an interview with, oh gosh, what was her name? Now you're putting me on the spot. Natalie Sharp. She played Millie Rollins on season 6 of The Flash.
Make sure you guys check that out. And make sure, he doesn't know this, but very close friend of mine, my interview with Josh Trank. Make sure you guys check that out. I mean, he only follows me on Twitter, but whatever.
Look at that. You forgot someone.
Right? Finally, Joel has all the celebrities that follows him. I just have
No, I do not.
Yes, Joel, who just followed you? Go ahead. Don't be shy.
John Cena.
All right, look at that.
Wait, what?
Guys?
Yeah, I don't know why. He just does.
Joel knows why. Joel's famous and will not admit it. He is secretly famous and will not admit it. He's going to continue to let us struggle while he's out here in the celebrity life. I'm
like continuously at 1,800 followers, and it's like no matter what, it never goes up. And I'm just like,
I'm at like
yeah, you want to know something
398.
funny? I've seen me go from 540 to 600 and then back to 540. Here's the funny thing. I don't use Twitter. So how did I lose this? What did I do that made me lose those followers?
They were all bots.
They were bots, yeah.
Stupid bots. But anyway, yes, Joel had John Cena follow him, and I had a fan page for John Cena follow me. So so make sure you guys check out everything that we have coming down the pipeline. We will be doing our new logo reveal next week. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. It will be an all-new GVN. Same people you love, different look. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We have so much in store for you guys. Stay tuned for Top 10, Geek Vibes GVN Game Night, great debates, Star Wars Saturday, Tea Time with Tia has been popping lately. I've never used the word popping, Tia, but the use all the craze.
Tea Time with Tia.
Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But we have so much content for you guys. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Peace.
Yeah.
Deuces.